Hello, everybody, and welcome to our special 5th episode of Toad Talk Podcast. We've officially done it. We've officially made it to 5 episodes in. I can't believe it. And we've had actually two different guests on the show for our panel amongst that time. I actually kind of spoiled about what's about to happen in this podcast because are actually going to have for the first time a brand new person sitting in for our panel tonight, but we'll get to that in just a second. First, let me bring in by the way, I am Croakitoad. Hello. Welcome back to another episode. Glad that you guys are back again to hear us for the 5th episode. So happy and glad to have you, whether you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts as usual. But let me bring in the panel for this week and this episode of the show. First up, we have Zazarus, aka Grem. He is back again.
Hello, everyone. What is up?
That's right. The Cowabunga Kid is back in action once again. Me and him have not missed a podcast yet. And then number 3, our special guest on the panel for the first time ever as an official panel member is the Coke.
What's up, everybody? Mr. Coke here.
Mr. Coke is here joining us to fill in that third spot, usually sat in by Raji, aka Jeremy, who cannot join us tonight because of work-related reasons, but we're going to keep this thing going. Nevertheless, also, by the way, everybody, this is a special 5th episode of our podcast where we opened it up for people to ask us questions in the Discord server, and we are going to answer all of those questions at the end of this podcast. It'll be bookmarked on YouTube. So check that out if you want to skip right to that and hear your questions. We'll be answering all those. All of the questions directed towards Raji will be answered by Coke. So we'll be going through that at the tail end of our podcast. And also remember, we have that giveaway going on for a copy of Pragmata of your choice of platform. The hashtags, remember, post those hashtags. I'm not going to announce them. You're going to have to go back to episode 4 and listen to when that announcement was done. Look, I did all the work for you. I put a bookmark in there on YouTube and everything that went straight to the giveaway details. So you need to reply to this podcast and comment with the hashtag to enter that giveaway for a copy of Pragmata coming out soon around the corner by Capcom. It's a giveaway hosted by our panelist, Raji. All right, but that's our introduction for episode 5. Let's get right into Bring Your Own News. And I'm going to kick things off first by talking about a big event that happened personally for me on Saturday, and it involves the Croakitoad community and therefore Toad Talk podcast. It was a stream of a powerlifting competition that took place in Winterset, Iowa this past Saturday. We had over 100 competitors competing from ages from 11 years old all the way in their mid 80s competing in a drug-free, family-friendly powerlifting environment. We had a lot of great lifts. We had state records and national records being broken in all sorts of lifts like power clean, strict curl, squat, bench, and bench press and deadlift competition. And this competition was actually streamed on the twitch.tv NASA Powerlifting Twitch channel. And a lot of you watched it and hung out and everything. It's a shame that I guess we had some dropped frames and some buffering towards the end of the 12-hour or however long it was competition, but glad that some of you dropped by and were able to catch the event. I was super sore and still kind of exhausted from the event on Saturday, but it was good to see all the different competitors stepping on the platform, regardless of age and experience levels. And it was a lot of fun. And I'm glad to see so many people in chat watching live. Had a lot of fun checking out the competition, as well as obviously NASA Powerlifting is a part of the Croakitoad stream team on Twitch. And so NASA Powerlifting finally coming in hot and doing some live event coverage on Saturday for the community, and was super awesome. But yeah, that's what I'm bringing to the table on Saturday. Big event on Saturday, and I am still feeling the effects of that. But we're going to pass it over to Grem now for this week's Bring Your Own News.
All right, yeah. My bring my own news. Excuse me. Actually, it's a couple of opening days. I'm a sports kind of guy too. So not only was Major League Baseball beginning on Wednesday, past Wednesday. But the UFL has also started their season starting Friday. So if you love football, you can still watch it. They play basically 10 games, so it's a couple of months. And of course, baseball starting up as well. So if you're a baseball fan like me, it's a good time for the season to get started and kind of figure out if your team's going to actually make a run, if they're going to be any good, or if they're going to be sellers. So kind of enjoying the sports world right now for me.
That's awesome. There's so much going on in sports right now. Like some sports are kind of wrapping up, getting towards the tail end, and some sports are starting to think about, okay, it's 2026 time to start thinking about it.
Yep.
That's cool. All right, Mr. Coke, what would you like to bring to the table this week for your news?
One of my favorite games, and probably one of the best stealth games ever made, was released 21 years ago on March 29th, 2005. And that game, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory.
Ooh, nice. And that was on all platforms, or
Yeah,
one?
PS2, PC, GameCube, Xbox.
Nice.
It's funny, like when I originally got it, I got it on the PS2 in early 2007. It was like $10. So yeah, I guess I'm not a true Splinter Cell fanboy because I waited a few years.
And that was one of the Splinter Cells where if you played it on the different platforms, it had different level design and stuff, right?
Yeah. I should actually go back and compare the two, like the PC, Xbox, and then the PS2 version.
So if you
remember, like,
so if you played like the Xbox version of the game, it would be pretty much different from the PC version.
well, the PC and the Xbox versions are identical, basically. It was the PS2 and GameCube versions that were cut down.
Ah, okay. And
they're slightly easier.
And sadly, the voice
PS2.
actor of Sam Fisher did pass away a few years ago, right?
No, he's still alive. He had a cancer, which is why he couldn't do what was it? It wasn't Conviction. It was Blacklist.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, he just retired from being the voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they brought him back for I think it was Siege to voice Sam Fisher in that.
Nice. Well, I know you're a huge Splinter Cell fan, and it doesn't surprise me that that would be what you bring to the table, the anniversary of one of your beloved games for episode 5 of Toad Talk. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our Bring Your Own News segment completed. We're going to move on over to video gaming news. We do have 4 games we're going to cover and check out on this episode. So let's get right into it. Of course, the Xbox partner preview took place over the weekend, and they showcased a great handful of games, but this one is going to be a part of that Xbox partner preview 2026 that they revealed, dated here March 26 on the Xbox YouTube channel. This one's called Alien Deathstorm, reveal trailer, and is made by Rebellion, the people behind the Zombie Trilogy games. Let's check this out.
What the hell happened here? Where is everyone?
Warning. Adverse weather conditions detected. Wind speeds reaching survival threshold. Seek shelter.
Okay, that was pretty good. Obviously, you can't see the trailer if you're listening to our podcast here, but you heard the final moments of that trailer. Really funny. Pointed the pistol at the alien, was out of ammo. Uh-oh, he's in trouble. Alien Deathstorm looked pretty good. FPS, wouldn't expect anything less from Rebellion. Definitely looks like my cup of tea. I can't wait to give this a shot, try it out. Coming 2027 to Xbox Series X and S on Xbox PC and the Xbox Cloud as well. And you can't go wrong with Rebellion. What do you think, Grem?
I'm kind of blown away a little bit on the just the graphics on how it looked, like just being outside on, I guess, the planet. It made it feel real. The alien looks to be a mixture of like Alien and Predator, which is unique. I mean, I understand it, but it'd be kind of interesting to kind of hear the story on how it can sense people. That where you're on right there kind of freaked me out the most, when like you don't really get that in video games, where you feel like you are actually surrounded and you're one person against, you're looking at like what, 30, kind of like crawling at the ceiling on the side of the walls. That got me a little bit. I was like, whoa, like that gives you almost like a despair kind of feeling. You're like, I only have one gun and there's like 20 of them coming right at me. So it looked really, really good. I'm impressed.
And Coke, you definitely have some experience with Rebellion games with the Nazi zombies and the Zombie Army trilogy games.
Yeah.
Does this seem like something right up their alley and right up your alley in terms of?
Yeah, I mean,
what
like
they're working
Rebellion
on?
games are generally, pretty good. Sniper Elite, you know, Zombie Army trilogy. And it's funny, they made a bunch of Alien games back in like the 90s and into the 2000s. Like Alien versus Predator on the Atari Jaguar. It's probably one of the best games on the system.
Really? Rebellion did?
Yeah,
I
back
did
in
not know.
1994.
Wow, so it's almost like they're going back to their roots here.
Yeah, and then in '99 they made another Alien versus Predator game, and I think, didn't they do the one in 20? Yeah, they did the one in 2010 as well. That I think you played.
Well, I'll be.
So I'm pretty optimistic about it. They generally, they're good.
Nice. Well, the description says, explore a devastated off-world colony that is ravaged by a cataclysmic megastorm and overrun by bloodthirsty aliens in Alien Deathstorm, the new sci-fi action horror FPS from Rebellion. Using a combination of cunning and firepower, you must defeat the countless lurking horrors in a desperate fight for survival. And it doesn't say anywhere, as far as I could see, about there being co-op or multiplayer, or it just being single player. I'm going to assume it's single player. But we know that all the zombie trilogy games are 4 players, so I don't know. Maybe they just haven't released that information yet, but nevertheless, it does look good. The graphics look amazing, and it's definitely something I would suspect from Rebellion. It's kind of cool to see them stepping away from the zombie stuff and moving to Alien, more sci-fi horror, which apparently is going back to their roots. I completely forgot that they were responsible for a lot of those AVP games. All right, but that was a good one. I can't wait to check that out, and especially it being on Xbox, I'll definitely be looking at what kind of achievements I have to look forward to on Alien Deathstorm. All right, moving on to our next game. This is a game that's been announced for a little while, but we just haven't had time to fill it into the podcast. I definitely wanted to, because I'm a huge Hellraiser fan, and this game was released, or not released. The trailer was revealed on July of last year in terms of IGN here on their YouTube. But we're going to take a look at the Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival Red Band trailer right here. Let's take a look.
A void. A desirous, gaping heart. It thirsts for excruciating pleasure. The very thing we offer. is hellbound. Follow her, for we have such sights to show you.
Oh man, love this, love this, love this, love this, love this. Huge Hellraiser fan, like I said. I'm loving the sounds. It makes me think I'm watching Hellraiser 1 or 2 or 3. And Pinhead, you got all the Cenobites in there. You got the Chatterer. You got Blub, as I like to call him. Butterball is what they actually call him. And all the crew is there. I'm glad we're not actually playing the video part of this trailer, because we probably might get our podcast taken down on a couple of platforms for nudity, but that's what you've come to expect from the Hellraiser franchise. I absolutely love this. I'm glad that we're shedding some light on this on the podcast, because I've definitely been looking forward to this. Looks like it's going to be an FPS game where you walk around using the puzzle box to help you get through enemies and attack people. And I almost got like some Saw video game vibes from this in a few of the scenes that I saw, but very gory. There's blood everywhere. There's bodies exploding. You've got chains, you've got hooks, you've got gore, you've got the bodies getting cut in half. You got all the usual cast of characters in terms of the Cenobites and everything. And it just looks great, and it's gruesome, and it's right up my alley. It will be coming out on the PS5, Xbox Series X and X, and PC on Steam. And I don't think there's a release date yet, but this is amazing, and I can't wait. And Grem, there are some sites I want to show you on this.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I'll have to see them because you'll probably stream it. Interesting game. This reminds me like a little bit of I had it. It was I had it mixed in with like Dishonored. I'm trying to remember. Resident Evil 8. So, because I know that was first person, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So this guy's like that with Dishonored in terms of like just kind of like the unique abilities. It looks like the main character, she has at least was given something like I think that one picture that you kind of saw with her hand, basically her left arm like over the face of one of the monsters. So yeah, I mean, not too big into horror, but at the same time, you know, I do know about Hellraiser. It looks pretty good. Like you said, it's definitely gory, right up your alley. And like I said, I don't know. For whatever reason, I got like more of a Dishonored vibe to it, where it's not even very stealth-like, but you just have like tools or different abilities, and the first person aspect, I think, is pretty neat on it.
All right, Coke, what are you thinking? You a big Hellraiser fan? Is this something that you think you'd play?
Not really. I'm not really a fan of it, but I can see, like, objectively, you know, putting my opinions aside, I think it looks cool, and I can't wait to see you stream it. My only experience is when I go up against Pinhead and DVD, and he annoys me. So, yeah.
Well, I have to say, personally, there's one scene in this. There's a scene in the beginning of the trailer that I really like for reasons, but there's
science.
Definitely for science, yes.
Yeah.
But there's another scene in this trailer about the 1 minute mark where you see the Chatterer coming down a tunnel, coming straight for you, and that is so amazing. Oh, I love that. One of my favorite Cenobites, the Chatterer. He's the one that, if for anyone that's ever watched the Hellraiser movies, his jaw is just going like that, and he's like stalking you, coming after you. That's really awesome. I can't wait to see how they integrate the Cenobites into a single player campaign like this, where it's an FPS game and you're basically having to fight for your survival in the labyrinth, it looks like. I'm seeing like shots of Hellraiser 2 in this. There's also like a nightclub going on. There's like a rave party, which is giving me like Hellraiser 3 vibes a little bit. So this is really cool. And the synopsis of this says, Clive Barker's Hellraiser revival will discover the tale of Aiden, who must unlock the dark powers of the Genesis configuration, a mysterious puzzle box, to help his girlfriend from a hellish abyss. As Aiden, you'll harness the box's infernal abilities to survive your pact with the sinister Pinhead and battle against the twisted cult that worships him and the Cenobites. Fail, and your suffering will be legendary, even in hell. We have such sights to show you. Very cool. Very cool. And also, key note there, that was in fact Doug Bradley's voice, the original Pinhead. And as far as I'm concerned, the one and only Pinhead, his voice so iconic in that role. Absolutely love it. He's got so many voice quips, so many voice lines that are just golden in the genre of horror. And I'm so glad to see Doug Bradley back voicing the role of his baby Pinhead. Love it. We'll be definitely keeping an eye on this. I definitely want to stream this as soon as it comes out. Super hyped for this. And I'm glad we gave this a little bit of time here on the podcast. But that's Hellraiser Revival coming out sometime soon. All right, going to move on to our second to last game. We're staying in the horror genre for video games for podcast number 5. I'm sure Zazarus loves this because this is definitely right up his alley. But we're going to move over from Hellraiser and Pinhead over to good old Mikey. Halloween. Reveal trailer here from September 2025. Horror fans be eating good. Here is Michael Myers and Halloween.
Rarely do teams get the incredible opportunity of exploring and creating a game around iconic horror legends like Michael Myers. In Halloween, players get to relive that fateful night in 1978 and step back into the town of Haddonfield, Illinois. I'm Miles Dompierre from Ilphonic, and today I'm thrilled to present an extended look at gameplay for Halloween. With the help of Unreal Engine 5, we've been able to reconstruct the quiet town of Haddonfield in stunning detail. Remaining authentic to the 70s era aesthetics was essential to how we crafted our play spaces. When players navigate these environments, they'll be surrounded by decor that delightfully preserves a special moment in time. Throughout these locations, randomized townsfolk NPCs are living their lives, completely unaware of the danger lurking right outside their windows. These NPCs serve as the game's primary objectives. Stepping behind the mask of this infamous killer, Michael's goal is to find, stalk, and kill the residents of Haddonfield before Halloween night ends. Once you've honed in and stalked a target, it's time to choose the perfect moment to strike. Michael comes equipped with an array of unpredictable endowments, but the most powerful is Shape Jump. When in Shape Jump, Michael is invisible to the naked eye. This is our interpretation of Michael's inexplicable tendency to suddenly appear in completely unexpected places and catch victims off guard. Players can also choose from a broad range of compelling civilian hero characters that have witnessed the wrath of Michael and need to warn their neighbors before it's too late. Finding an active phone will allow you to call the police and attempt to convince them to send in help. Just remember, you may be able to knock him down, but you can't kill the boogeyman. We hope you've enjoyed this extended look at gameplay for Halloween. We've only scratched the surface of what's shaping up to be a truly special and murderous sandbox horror experience. And we can't wait for you all to join us in Haddonfield when Halloween launches on September 8th, 2026.
Oh, baby. I didn't even know it was a September 8th, 2026 release date there, but that's super awesome. I also didn't realize that you get to play as Michael Myers with random NPCs around the neighborhood of Haddonfield, just minding their own business. And so you can just like randomly kill these NPCs as Michael, while I guess as other players are playing as these group of heroes that are trying to warn these NPCs and get them out of town before the player playing as Michael destroys all of them. That's a really interesting twist on it. I was literally just expecting it to be like the same as Friday the 13th, where one player's Jason and then you have like 5, 6 campers or whatever in that. But this is actually an interesting twist that I never really actually saw, was the addition of the NPCs. But the game looks great. The music is there. It's Haddonfield again. It's completely Halloween. It looks great. I can definitely, as a Friday, well, we all used to play Friday the 13th, the game, all three of us. So it's obviously, you can tell from some of the graphics and the assets that it's from that ilk, from that game before that unfortunately went down. I'm super stoked and looking forward to this, and I can't wait to play with some of you guys on this Halloween. What are you thinking about this one, Grem?
Yeah, like you said, you could see kind of some of the similarities between the Friday the 13th and Halloween. I will say I feel like this game is going to have a little bit more legs to it, because I think what they learned from Friday the 13th, they've taken and adjusted it in this game. For example, it's more, I don't want to say homelier, but you're not in like a campsite where like you don't know what's going on. At least you can recognize, oh, there's a house, there's a road, there's a car, things like that. Like you can kind of pick up a little bit easier compared to how Friday the 13th was. I'm not too sure on how many different killing animations you were gonna have, but I do like how they explained the was it Spirit Walk, I believe they called it, or I can't remember what they called it, but the shifting and kind of going into like a ghost form, because it is funny. We always wondered like how did Michael Myers get from like point A to point B with like a blink of an eye. I think it's an interesting twist, and at least they didn't shy away from it. They were like, okay, this is what we're gonna do to kind of make it seem like it matches and it fits. And it, like you said, the music is perfect on it. It feels very Halloween like. I think a lot of people will be more immersed with it, because not only, like you said, you got the the killer and your heroes, but you also have NPCs are kind of in the way as well. So it's a choice of like, well, do I kill them or do I save them first? Like, you're making choices that are going to matter. And I feel like this game has a lot more legs underneath it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And hopefully there's no, well, we all know the the downfall of the Friday the 13th game with the lawsuits and the trademarks and just the tug of war that resulted in that. Hopefully that doesn't happen in the Halloween franchise, and fingers crossed this is a long lasting and stable game that's a lot of fun. A month before Halloween, so interesting timing to release the game there. But what are you thinking about this, Coke? I know we played a lot of Friday the 13th together before in the past, and we had some good times on that. You think that that'll transcend over into this new project?
I really, really hope so. Just looking at the footage they had reminded me a lot of Friday the 13th. Obviously, same developers and everything. But as you said, with like the history of Friday the 13th, I hope they've got all the legal rights and everything, all squared away. Because I would hate to see this game die too. Like, just it would be about as devastating as Friday the 13th dying. But I hope they actually have like keep some of the bugs, because like I thought some of the bugs in Friday the 13th were hilarious. Like that one time when he like threw the car.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there was for those that don't know, which is probably a lot of people. There was one time we were playing Friday the 13th, and I was playing as Jason, and I had a wood stick or machete or something, and I swiped at a car, because you could escape with a car was one of the objectives you could do as the human players. And I swiped at the car, and it launched into the air, like into the outer atmosphere, and just disappeared. And it was the funniest thing I've ever saw in that game. And it's too bad I didn't clip that particular moment, because that was just absolutely hilarious. But yeah, I agree. Bugs like that make it really funny. And maybe we'll get lucky and have some of those bugs in this new project that they have here. Yeah, I also agree with Grem, the whole shadow walking thing, because when you watch a Halloween movie, you're always like, well, how he was like way back there. How did he end up like right here in front of the survivor, the person running away from him? Now he's suddenly in front of them. Well, there you go. A little tongue in cheek there, explanation as to how Mikey is able to get from point A to point B so quickly without the actor in the movie realizing it, the character in the movie. yeah, we'll definitely keep our eyes on this. Again, a release date for September 8th, 2026, and PS5, and it looks like pretty much all platforms. I'm gonna assume on the GameSpot trailer it only says PS5, but someone will have to fact check me in the comments. But I'm sure it'll be on Steam or Epic as well, in the very least. But we'll definitely keep our eyes on that and definitely try to play it as soon as it comes out. All right, our last game that we're going to talk about here on the podcast is more Peak news. Seems like we're always talking about Peak because there's always something to talk about on Peak. And they dropped a big one on March 30th. Actually, that was earlier today as the recording of this podcast. They've got a big update for Peak, and I cannot wait to play this Saturday for multiplayer night on the Twitch Croakitoad channel with everybody. Let's take a look and see what Peak has got waiting for us now.
Hey Scouts, it's Paige here with another patch notes video.
It's not enough. I want more.
What?
Get rid of tornadoes. I hate them. Delete wind. Delete wind. Make the damage nicer. Make it nicer. I keep dying. This fire sucks. Master. Where is Bing Bong?
Ah! Yeah, okay.
The play it. Okay, oh my god, this is not gonna work.
It's out now, guys.
The play it your way update is out.
It's out now.
Stop! No, we can't do it together.
Yeah, woohoo!
It's out now.
Hey, Scouts.
Wow, that's awesome. There's so much to unpack there. No pun intended, out of your scout backpack. But holy moly, I'm trying to bring up the menu where you have so many right here. All right, let's max this out. All right, so we love Peak here in the Croakitoad community. We play it all the time. Anytime there's a multiplayer night, Peak is absolutely included. It's won our multiplayer game of the year last year for our community. We absolutely, and I specifically, absolutely adore this game, and I love that they're adding this in. I don't know how often I would probably use it because I just like the game as is, but this gives you so much more customization that you can do for particular runs that you would like. You don't like one thing? Okay, you don't like spiders, wind, and geysers? Okay, uncheck them. They will not be in the game. You like tumbleweeds and you don't want nothing but tumbleweeds? Okay, you can do that. You don't want first aid kits, sports drinks, or rescue claws? Okay, uncheck mark it, and they won't be. There's so much here to unpack in this new update. And then obviously the custom save points at the campfires, that's huge. So, you got to quit playing, you got to go to work, or you got to go to bed. All right, save here at the campfire. You'll come back tomorrow. Man, this is huge. What a great update for this. And I had no idea that this was coming. I'm sure some people probably did who keeps a close eye on Peak probably knew this was coming, but I did not know this was basically shadow dropped in front of me. And I'm definitely all for it. What are you thinking about this, Grem?
I think it's good. Maybe in terms of if you're an achievement hunter and that you just kind of get that last couple of achievements, you can kind of do a custom game. I don't know if that works completely or not, but at least maybe it gets you a little bit of an idea on how to get those last achievements. On top of that, too, I know we didn't talk about it, but like the save points for each of the campfires, that's a very big positive. I think a lot of people are just wanting to do like a Peak run, but I mean we've done it too. It's like 2 hours in and all of a sudden you get to almost the very end and everyone died and you're like, gotta do it all over again. At least you have basically I just see it too. I see what you're saying. Does not it's disabled for badges. Never mind. So okay. So scratch what I said in the beginning, but again, if you want to kind of learn some things like, hey, what does the big lollipop do? And I just want to make sure I get that and kind of test it. You can just in the, whatever game you want. There'd be like no penalty or anything. But again, with the campfire, I think it's a huge plus, because then you can just start back at like where your last one was, and then you can kind of continue on and then hopefully actually peak. So I feel like a lot more peaking is going to happen with this update.
Absolutely, yeah. And I really love the gameplay menu here. You've got fog speed. You can adjust that. Hunger rate, fall damage. Oh my God, I would love to see what maximum fall damage would be like if you set it that way. Cold at night. Interesting. That's a new one. Flares at peak. Man, there's just so much here to mess with. And you can actually even do a single biome to win the game. You can't do any achievements for that, but if you just want to do one biome, win the game, you can do that as well. What are you thinking about this, Coke? You think this is a great thing to add to the game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously more options are always great. And with the single biome thing, it's like, as you know, like my complaint, I wouldn't necessarily call it a complaint, but like sometimes it just takes too long, in my opinion, to like, finish the peak session. So if it just like one biome, if I'm just feeling peak, but not too much peak, I can just do that. And then there's all the gameplay options, as you can see. I would love to see max fall damage. We could play, we can invite a certain someone, not tell them about the options, and then just watch the magic unfold.
Absolutely. Imagine how much changing around these options like this you could do in trolling our favorite guy that starts with the letter R in this community.
Oh, yes.
And also, one thing that I find interesting is the hazards option here. You can enable or disable tornadoes, the Scoutmaster, Blazing Sun, Tumbleweeds, Dynamite. It would be really fun if this was goes down the straight randomizer path where you could just click nothing but tornadoes and just have tornadoes on every biome. Imagine that. Imagine trying to climb to the top of the last one, the caldera, the volcano one at the very end, and then there's tornadoes.
We can call it the Croakitoad challenge.
Yes.
Because it's here.
Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. But this is great. I love this. I had no idea that this was going to be dropped. But it did as of a couple of hours ago at the recording of this podcast. The Play It Your Way update is out now on Peak. Go check it out and let us know in the comments what options did you set, adjust, what did you disable, enable to make your runs a little bit more fun in Peak. Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Custom runs, campfire autosaves, mini runs, bug fixes, and so much more. I'm loving Peak. Landfall Games, you're doing an awesome job. If you ever hear this, we love you. We're huge fans, Landfall, and keep doing what you're doing because you're doing amazing. Love to talk about Peak here. All right, well, that'll do it for our gaming news. We got one movie trailer we're going to watch. It's kind of an oldie as of about a month ago, if you want to call that old. But it is the Mortal Kombat 2 movie trailer. We know Mortal Kombat 2 is coming out on May 8th. So that's about 2 months from the recording of this podcast. I am 100% going out to watch this. I can't wait. I really enjoyed the first movie. There was one part about it I didn't really like, but I'll get into that after the trailer. But I am super stoked for this. Here is Mortal Kombat 2, the trailer. Let's check it out.
You want to know what makes a hero? It's not destiny. It's not something you're born with. It's searching for greatness.
Johnny Cage, you have been chosen for Mortal Kombat.
Then realizing you've had it in you this entire time.
Whoa! I really don't feel comfortable hitting a girl.
Don't worry. You won't.
Yo, send me back. I want to go back.
The rules of the tournament are simple. Our fates would not be settled by the size of our armies. They would be decided by combat.
I'm not some great warrior. I'm not some champion.
is a war for the fate of your world.
Finish him!
Me?
Earth belongs to me.
We do not kneel!
Our only chance is to face this together.
Let's go, baby.
You, Johnny Cage, are a part of this now. It's showtime.
Get over here!
Johnny will definitely die.
Woo, doggy, man! I was starting to get some goosebumps there when the jingle started playing. May 8th, 2026, IMAX. Holy crap! I am going to see this in the theater. You bet your fatalities I'm going to. The cast of characters looks amazing. We saw just your typical Mortal Kombat cast: Sub-Zero, Scorpion. Actually, I don't think you actually saw Sub-Zero. Definitely Scorpion, Baraka, Katana, Shao Kahn's now in. Obviously, Johnny Cage is in. We saw Jax. Sonya Blade is back. Actually, I have to go back and watch that because I don't think I actually saw Sub-Zero. I know what happened to him at the end of the first movie. So, but it's Mortal Kombat. People always come back. But that is very interesting. I have to go back and check that, fact check myself, or just let me know in the comments if you did see Sub-Zero in the trailer for Mortal Kombat 2. But regardless of all of that, this is super awesome, super hype. And I'll go into real quick why I didn't like the first movie. A lot of the other people that I've talked about the first movie with also didn't really care the fact that Cole was added as the main character in the first movie. Just kind of a first time. You never saw him before in any of the games, any of the fiction, anything. He was just thrown into the movie out of nowhere as your primary protagonist, and it was just like, okay, who is this guy? Why couldn't it be Liu Kang in the hero main protagonist role or whatever? So I was like kind of on that, but this one looks like it's more focused on Johnny Cage and the characters that we know, we love, we cherish in the Mortal Kombat series. You got all the great villains, all the great heroes from the roster, and some I'm sure they're not even showing you, but man, this looks super hype. And like I said, I was getting goosebumps towards the end there watching this, and I love the Shao Kahn. Everything I've seen and heard from Shao Kahn in the trailer. Super looking forward to this. What are you thinking about this one, Graham?
I like it. It looks good. Actually, when I was a kid, definitely Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter were games that I played on the Genesis a lot. One worry that I usually have about Mortal Kombat, and I don't really have this worry with Street Fighter, but with Mortal Kombat, and you mentioned it too, fatalities and everything, right? Like, you don't really get to see that much in terms of fatalities on like the main characters, you know what I mean? So like Scorpion's not doing that to Kano, a fatality, but maybe Scorpion's going to do that to some rogue ninja or something like that, which is cool in its own right. But when you've played the games, you're like, no, you're facing against another worthy opponent. I did like seeing. I imagine that was Jade that you saw with the staff and everything. That's pretty cool. Kano's in there, obvious as you saw as well. When it comes to Sub-Zero, I didn't see Sub-Zero, so I don't think he's there. And also, I didn't see Melina, but at the same time too, I thought I saw something that looked very similar to like purple size being thrown, but that could also have been like Sonya's ability as well, because I believe she's got like some pink ability as well. The story revolving around Johnny Cage. It's tough because like back when I was playing this, when I was a kid, Johnny Cage was the martial artist, but he was he could actually do martial arts, and he was the movie star. And it looks like this is more or less like I'm the movie star, but I'm learning martial arts. You know what I mean? So I definitely want to see it. Don't get me wrong. but you're right. Like they've kind of turned the story instead of like Liu Kang into more of Johnny Cage, and seeing if he can help the Earth realm.
All right, Coke, what do you think about Mortal Kombat 2? And did you watch the first one?
Nah, I'm gonna have to. People are gonna think less of me and less as a gamer, but I've never really played Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. So yeah, take that what you will. I've never even seen the movies. So
Then what in fact
maybe I should. Maybe I should.
What in fact are you doing here then? If you've never, I'm just kidding.
Well, hold on, Coke. I mean, you saw the trailer as much as we did.
Yeah.
Anything that like was like cool or struck you, and you're like, oh, that's pretty neat.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it looked cool, so I could say it's I might see it.
Okay, so you can at least say Shao Kahn looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, yeah. We'll give them that. And if they screwed that up, I'd be laughing at them.
Yeah, he actually does look really good in the trailer. Like it looks legit.
And I also want to go back on my original statement. Apparently, it looks like Sub-Zero is out, but Noob Saibot is. And if anyone knows their Mortal Kombat lore, the original Sub-Zero ends up being Noob Saibot because he gets killed by fatality in the first original game by Scorpion, and it looks like Noob Saibot is in, so it looks like Sub-Zero is back in this movie, but as Noob Saibot. I'm looking at it here, and I'm almost positive this would be Noob Saibot here. So I haven't watched the movie, obviously, so I don't know for sure, but that's exactly what I'm thinking, and I'm predicting is that, we know what happened to Sub-Zero in the first movie, and it goes by the lore of the original game, and he might be back as Noob Saibot. So therefore his brother, I believe Baihan is his name, might be back as the older brother, or is it the younger brother? It's definitely the brother of the original Sub-Zero. There's two Sub-Zeros, they're brothers. So according to Mortal Kombat lore, but we'll have to see how they do that, transcend that over into the movie. But regardless of all that, I am super stoked. I can't wait. I am going to theater to see this May 8th. Check it out. It looks amazing. And unlike the Street Fighter film, which is more like tongue-in-cheek and ha-ha, this one definitely takes itself more seriously. Even though Johnny Cage is in there making cracking jokes and stuff, it definitely seems like this is geared more towards like a serious fighting tournament. And I love that about this. All right, but that'll do it for movie news. We're going to switch on over to sports now. And our usual sports guy here on the panel is not with us to break it down and go into step-by-step analysis. So we're going to try to do our best without him here. But we're going to go ahead and jump into March Madness. I'll just briefly go over the Sweet 16 overview here. And if Grem has anything to add after that, we can kind of discuss that. And then we'll give our predictions on who's going to win out of the Final Four into the finals after that for March Madness. But we had on the South brackets, we had Iowa taking out Nebraska, and then Illinois taking out Houston, and then Illinois actually won and defeated Iowa to make it to the Final Four over on that bracket. And then over on the East side, we had Duke defeating St. John's. I know a lot of people were looking at St. John's to pull the upset off, but they couldn't do it. Duke beating them, and then UConn defeating Michigan State, which was kind of tight there, this final score. And then Duke and UConn in the Elite Eight, and UConn winning by 1 point. I know Grem will probably talk about the ending of this Duke game here in a minute, but UConn, I think a lot of people were thinking UConn wasn't going to do it, but they did. It was a tight game, looks like, and UConn making it to the Final Four with a big win over Duke. And then over on the West brackets, we had Arizona taking care of business against Arkansas. Sorry, Raji. Maybe that's why he's not here on this podcast. He didn't want to talk about Arkansas losing to Arizona. Maybe that was the excuse. He just didn't want to tell us. And then Purdue taking care of Texas. Man, Texas was looking like a house on fire there, to be honest with you. I was paying attention to them, but they just couldn't get it couldn't get it done against Purdue. And then we ended up with Arizona, Purdue, and then Arizona winning to make it to the Final Four over on the Western side. And then on our last brackets, we had the Midwest with Michigan taking care of Alabama 90-77. We had Iowa State losing to Tennessee, and Tennessee was looking pretty good too, honestly, which led to a Michigan versus Tennessee in the Sweet 16. Or the Elite Eight, I should say. Michigan win 95-62, bringing them to the Final Four, which leads us to our Final Four, which is UConn versus Illinois on April 4th. Well, both of these games are going to be April 4th, but UConn taking on Illinois will be first on April 4th, followed by Arizona and Michigan, 2 number 1 seeds later that day. Or that evening, I should say, leading us to our final championship. And that's the 4 teams we are left with. And I'll leave it to Grem if he has any extra he wants to add to this.
Yeah, just a couple of things. Michigan tied an NCAA tournament record by scoring 90 or more points in 4 games in the tournament. The last team to do that was the UConn Huskies, and don't remember the year, sadly. But I believe UConn won the national championship when they did that. So Michigan's looking pretty good right now. But Arizona's looked really good too. So that final 4 of the side of the bracket is kind of like, a lot of people are like, well, whoever wins that probably is going to win the national championship. Illinois on the other side, kind of shocking. Houston was kind of a big thing. I know a lot of people were kind of high on Houston. They're more of a defensive team, Houston is. And then Iowa's kind of run just kind of falling a little short. UConn and Duke, I'll touch on it briefly. That last 10 seconds was mind-boggling, to say the least. Duke could have just held on to the ball for 10 seconds. They were up by 2, and they decided to try to outpass it, into the front court, and it got deflected, passed over to a guy who was pretty much midway between the 3-point line and the half-court line, like basically right in the middle of that, and shoots this almost impossible shot, but it was nothing but net. It goes right in. The whole arena erupted. The coaches were going nuts. And again, UConn winning, and because that after that 3, it was like 0.3 seconds left in the game, and that one's not going to be enough time for anything for Duke. I had a friend of mine who's like, oh, so we don't have to see the Duke Christian Laettner shot anymore. Now Duke gets to enjoy having it done against them, and it's going to be shown for like 40 plus years or something. So, but yeah, that was a crazy game compared to the other ones that happened. That UConn Duke game was quite a shocker. And a lot of people too thought Duke was going to win the whole thing. I know a lot of people that I talked to were like, I really don't want to pick Duke, but I feel like they're going to win. So a lot of bracket busting a little bit too when it comes to people who picked not only Duke, but who's the other number 1? The Florida. That was it. Yes. Sorry. So on that side of the bracket, a lot of bracket busting.
Absolutely. Yeah. And well, we know that before the tournament even started, my tournament prediction fell through within the first day of games, because I predicted that it was going to be McNeese versus Hofstra. And I was probably the only person on planet Earth that predicted that as the final.
Yeah. And a big upset after big upset for you, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Lots of upsets, man.
Yep.
one of these years, we'll see McNeese versus Hofstra in the finals, and I will be the last one laughing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we'll do our predictions here for who's going to win the Final Four and go to the finals, and then who's going to win the finals. I'm kind of with you. I'm liking the Arizona Michigan. It seems a little top heavy over there. I don't know. They both played really well. I do like the Michigan 90 plus points stat that you dropped. Just for that, I think I'm going to drop Michigan over on that side of the bracket. And I'm leaning towards UConn, man. I think it's going to be UConn, Michigan, and Michigan's either just going to have just the probably one of the best March Madness runs ever and just win it all after such an impressive streak of games. and especially if they can defeat Arizona in such a big way, and then they'll take care of business against UConn. And I think Michigan will take it all. That's what I'm thinking. What do you thought?
You know, in my bracket, I actually had Michigan going to the national championship game. I did not have them winning, which was a big mistake on my part. So I can't not say Michigan. However, a lot of people were saying that between Arizona and Michigan might be the national champion. On the other side, UConn, Illinois, I kind of have a dog in the fight on both teams, to be honest with you. But at the same time, too, I also predicted UConn beating Duke, actually, in my bracket. So at the same time, I don't want to copy you, but at the same time, I do have a kind of a stake with UConn. So I'm gonna say UConn, Michigan, and I mean, UConn hasn't done enough to show me that they're going to win, but just to be different from you, I'm just going to say UConn. But I honestly feel like Michigan is the team. I mean, they are the team.
Well, it's going to be real fun to go back on podcast episode number 6 and talk about that, because it'll have been done on this Saturday, the Final Four. And then depending on when we record podcast number 6, the championship will actually have taken place. It'll probably be in the process of while we're doing the podcast, actually, and the finals will happen as we're recording.
We might have to drop a little bit of here and there, like when we get like a moment. So like if it goes to halftime, we can just drop the score real quick, kind of deal.
Yeah, they're playing at Lucas Oil, Indianapolis, 7:30 p.m. I believe that's Eastern time, so it'll be 6:30 my time, Central time.
Yeah.
So that it'll be interesting to see when we start recording this, at what point the championship game is in. That'll be really fun. But I predicted Michigan, you predicted UConn, and I'm not really sure what Raji has, but well, I guess we'll find out next week.
He has Arkansas.
Well, that's
whoops.
Yeah, whoops. That explains why he's not here tonight.
Yep.
109-88. There, Raji. You can be going to see the Grand Canyon soon, I'm sure. Love it. Love it though. Love it out there, out west. All right. Well, that's our March Madness wrap up. We'll have more to bring to the table in terms of the Final Four and the finals on next week's podcast. We're going to switch over to the racetrack, and talk about NASCAR like we like to do here on our podcast. We had Martinsville, wasn't it, on Sunday, was it? And we had a win from someone that is new to the crossing the finish line, and that was Chase Elliott, Hendrick Motorsports, who brings up his positioning up to number 4 for the Cup Series after that big win in Martinsville, right behind Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, and of course Tyler Reddick. And that really shoots him up there, especially with Hendrick Motorsports. Now they have the 4th and 5th spots there, as well as Kyle Larson in the 9th spot. So Hendrick Motorsports got 3 drivers in there looking good. But yeah, that's a big one for Chase Elliott. What do you think, Graham, about his big win there at Martinsville?
I mean, hey, that's big, especially for a name like Chase Elliott, who obviously carries the Elliott name. To get a win first of the season is very, very big. I believe, though, Denny Hamlin pretty much led most of the way. I believe it was kind of boiled down to just pit strategy when it comes to Chase Elliott. Also, I think Tyler Reddick finishing 15th. I heard a stat too that he's never finished in the top 5 in Martinsville. So a lot of people weren't really expecting Tyler Reddick to actually win his 5th race at that point. I think he's won 4 out of 6, so it's 4 out of 7 now, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, good for Chase Elliott.
Nice. And what are your thoughts on Chase Elliott getting the big win at Martinsville there, Coke? Was that something to be expected, or is this like completely out of the ordinary?
I did not expect it at all, but I mean, as Graham was saying, that last name Elliott, it's got a legacy. Because actually back in the day, I was a Bill Elliott fan. I had the number 94 McDonald's car toy. I still have it somewhere. So I mean, even if I'm not like a big Chase Elliott fan, still gotta give it to him.
Nice. So when you think of the top 5 for the Cup Series, the standings right now. Does this sound like a bunch 5 names that are just like really weird to clump together as the top 5, or is this something that like, okay, yeah, I can kind of see that going through years past with it being Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and William Byron? Is that a list of names that you're like, yeah, I can see them being top 5 right now?
I believe so, except for the Tyler Reddick. Everything else sounds about right. Ryan Blaney, again, it's the name. Denny Hamlin's always been a contender. Chase Elliott has been. William Byron, racing for, the 24 car, Hendrick Motorsports. I mean, that's just, those are definitely names that belong up there. Yes. And the only big difference is that Tyler Reddick.
Wow. And he's the one that's number 1 right now with the 4 wins.
Yep. I mean, when you're looking at the standings too, I guess probably someone that should be doing a lot better. Maybe like a John Hunter Nemechek. That's another big kind of name. But again, it's the second generation right there. Austin Cendrick is another one who's usually pretty good, and it's surprising that he's not even in the playoffs currently right now. So. To kind of flip the script a little bit on some teams, and Austin Dillon too. Just players that should be up there that are just having a rough season.
Okay, and then I'll just throw a prediction down here. We have Bristol coming up next, or no, Easter's on Sunday in 2 weeks. Bristol coming up in 2 weeks. Who do you guys think, as it looks right now, who's gonna come away with the big one? The big one at Bristol.
Big one.
Do you think Tyler Reddick's gonna make it 5?
Bristol's such a hard track. I mean, it's possible. I don't see it. If you're asking me Tyler Reddick or the field, I'd probably take the field at Bristol.
What do you think, Coke? Who's got Bristol?
Same. I don't really think Tyler Reddick's got it for Bristol.
You know what? You know who I'm going to predict for Bristol? I'm calling it right now. The number 24 ranking right now with 119 points, Mr. KB Kyle Busch, number 1 at Bristol 2 weeks from now. You are all laughing at me now, but
not necessarily. He did win quite a few of them.
Okay. I'm glad I got a little bit of you behind me. Nice.
Yeah. And honestly, like I said, it's Bristol. I mean, it's not like Daytona where like the big one's gonna knock you out, but there's gonna be some action for sure. Like a lot of crashes. So if you keep your fender clean, you can find yourself at fighting for that number 1 spot.
Well, there's one thing that Kyle Busch likes, and that's he likes to keep his fender clean.
Right.
As clean as possible.
As clean as a whistle.
Yes. As clean as a Kyle. All right. Well, hopefully he wins big in 2 weeks' time at Bristol, my favorite track. And we can get Kyle Busch up there. And I don't know if winning at Bristol would get him it probably would, wouldn't it? You get him in the top 10 for sure. Coming in first at Bristol, I would say.
Maybe.
I think that'd be great. We like the dog on Kyle Busch, and we know there's a lot of Kyle Busch lovers out there, but he's just too easy to pick on. But you know what? I'm gonna give him his flowers. I think he comes in first at Bristol. We'll see what happens if my prediction comes out. But that'll wrap it up.
If you're wrong,
what?
If you're wrong, we're gonna have to do a 100% race at Bristol. With yellows on, with everything on,
flags on. Come on!
Yeah,
oh no!
Yeah. If you're wrong,
do I get to play as Kyle Busch?
Well, there's gonna be even bigger target on you than usual if you're gonna be playing as our boy KB.
Yeah, that'd be fun one night to actually just play it. Not our cars, but just pick a racer or a driver. I think that'd be kind of neat to try.
And I know what Grem would pick. He would pick the number 43 ranking right now, Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, yeah, hands down. I mean, I'm an old school NASCAR guy. I mean, I pick a champion.
If Derek Cope was in NASCAR 25, I'd pick him.
You mean Derek Koch?
Oh,
Hey, don't be dissing the 1990 Daytona 500 winner there, okay?
Yeah, that's true.
All right, well, that's our NASCAR news. We'll I guess we won't really have much to talk about next on episode 6 of the podcast because it'll be Easter weekend, no racing. But we'll be back on episode 7 to talk about what happened at my favorite track, Bristol, and when Kyle Busch came in first on that track. All right, we're going to move over to wrestling news. We're just going to briefly, I know in the past we've kind of covered Raw and SmackDown results. This time, since we have all the Q&As at the end, we're just going to kind of quickly cover what happened with Danhausen on Monday Night Raw, March 23rd, kind of watch the clip here and see what happened when he confronted iShowSpeed, the Twitch streamer. And we'll check this out real quick right here.
And iShowSpeed is back on the red brand. How are you enjoying the road to WrestleMania? Man, I'm having a time of my life today. I hear, yes. They got Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, Danhausen. What?
Hi, WWE legend Danhausen. Nice to meet you. Very nice, very evil. Oh, boy. Say, I had a question for you. How are you so famous when you only have 180 human followers?
180 million followers?
Oh, my God. Let me think of it. Yep, checks out. So, I have a proposition for you. How about you give Danhausen your password? I'll log in. We can call the show iShowSpeedhausen. And then we'll split the profits. It'll be great for both of us.
No.
No?
No.
You think you're better than me? You think you're better than Danhausen? Tell you what, I have a new achievement for you. You want to know what it is?
What?
You are cursed.
What? Where'd he go? Cursed? What you mean cursed?
He's kidding.
What is he talking about?
Listen.
Bro, who is that?
I don't know, and I have business, so you enjoy the rest of your night. Have a good one.
Cursed?
Well, there you go. Danhausen shows up on Monday Night Raw, confronting iShowSpeed. Of course, we all know him here as being a Twitch streamer, an IRL streamer, stuff like that. He was in the Royal Rumble, I believe. Not this year, last year's Royal Rumble, I think, is when he got speared out of his boots by Braun Breaker. But he was on Raw and he got cursed. I don't know what happened as a result of that. I don't know if they ever showed him getting what happened when he got cursed or not, but we always like to kind of follow the Danhausen story on WWE, whether it be Raw or SmackDown, see what he's been up to. It's kind of funny and kind of an inside joke for the podcast. But what are your thoughts on Danhausen striking again on Monday Night Raw? This time on not a normal regular WWE wrestler, but a personality known as iShowSpeed. And did you ever follow up and see what happened to iShowSpeed maybe later in the show or something like that?
I didn't see anything. They did like a after Raw kind of thing where Danhausen said he'd remove the curse if he could, if iShowSpeed can beat him in a race, and Danhausen won. So by teleportation means. On top of that, I'll give it credit too. iShowSpeed did a really good job with that little interaction too. Like he sold it really well. So I was quite impressed by that.
Yeah, I think he's real good on a camera, and that goes to all of us being Twitch streamers and being on camera. That's just something that some of us have the knack for, and some of us that stream on Twitch don't. And he's one that is good on a camera, and I kind of consider myself also in the same spectrum. Just growing up in the Twitch/YouTube era, you kind of have to be good on a webcam and get comfortable with it and be entertaining to those viewers out there listening and or watching you stream. So, and I think that's where he got it from. And it was an easy transition for him to move from that over to WWE, where it's all about entertainment and getting the fans behind you. But all right, we'll have to keep our eyes open for Danhausen on his antics for next week. He's always up to no good and very nice, very evil, always cursing somebody. We'll have the Danhausen report, I guess we can call it, for next week as well. All right, we're going to switch gears over here. We're going to talk about still in the realm of professional wrestling. We're going to talk about TNA for the first time. We've not really touched on TNA since the podcast started, but they did have their TNA Sacrifice pay-per-view event on March 27th. and it was from New Orleans, Louisiana. They had quite a few matches. I've been kind of keeping one eye on TNA, finger on the pulse a little bit on TNA ever since the AMC era started with them. This is their third pay-per-view since the AMC era. A lot of people have been kind of like, when it comes to their pay-per-views so far. Here's hoping that this one actually panned out and changed the people's opinions on what they think of TNA. But there was unfortunately something really bad that happened in the main event. But we'll get to that in just a second. But we had on the pre-show, we had Brian Nemeth defeating BDE, which is a YouTuber that has turned into a professional wrestler, kind of in the same ilk of iShowSpeed. But BDE, I've been kind of impressed with that transition from just being like a YouTuber and a gamer and getting into the wrestling business. He's very athletic and acrobatic and everything, and he can certainly hold his own. I'm really impressed with what I've seen so far with BDE. But that was on the pre-show, Ryan Nemeth defeating BDE. And then on another match on the pre-show, which was actually kind of funny, a lot of people kind of laughed a little bit at the fact that Tessa Blanchard had this storyline going with Jody Threat lately, with her group against Jody Threat's group, and it's been this ongoing storyline taking place on the AMC TNA shows, which only led for Tessa Blanchard to be booked on the pre-show. So everyone's just kind of like, okay, is this how you're utilizing Tessa Blanchard, which is obviously a talk of the town when it comes to the women's division in TNA, or at least one of them, because of stuff and things happening with her in the past. But they decided to put her on the pre-show against Jody Threat, defeating Jody Threat again. And it seems like Jody Threat has just been like cannon fodder for Tessa Blanchard lately in all of their matches as well. So that's really interesting booking there. So I'm not really sure what they're going with on that. But then we start the actual pay-per-view match. We had Leon Slater, which is what a lot of people are calling the basically the savior of TNA right now. Leon Slater, the X Division champion. He successfully defeated Eric Young to retain the X Division title. Of course, Eric Young won this right in the Feast or Fired briefcase that took place a long time ago. Eric Young won a shot at the X Division title through this, and this match was the payoff. And Leon Slater is probably, like I said, is probably the biggest hero of the entire TNA roster right now. He's probably the closest to the old school X Division of old school TNA fans that people can probably look at and say, dang, he reminds me of the good old days. And they've got a good one there with Leon Slater. I can't remember if they're saying his contract is up soon, but I would definitely imagine that WWE has their eyes on him to pick him off and bring him to the WWE roster when that time comes. But he had a little bit of like some passport issues earlier this year and last year, and so he wasn't booked for a long time while being X Division champion. And so finally he's been on the shows lately and was able to defend his X Division title against Eric Young on the first match on the actual pay-per-view. Then we had another match between Frankie Kazarian and AJ Francis defeating Elijah and Hometown Man. This match really felt like just a slap together tag match. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it. It was just like just your standard tag match, nothing really too crazy or really anything. I'm not really even sure what the storyline was behind this. I felt like it was just a match they wanted to throw together to feature four of these guys. Hometown Man is obviously Cody Deaner, and he's got the hometown gimmick. Everyone usually gets behind him, and of course Frankie Kazarian being the former world heavyweight champion of TNA, kind of the high spots of the match for this tag match. Very interesting decision to put that tag match, though, I thought. Then they went back and showed that Ricky Sosa is officially signed with TNA. This is another big signing. TNA seems to be really like scouring the indies right now and finding these people that are unsigned that WWE has not had a pulse on yet and just quickly signing them up. And Ricky Sosa is another example of this. He's super tall, and he can do X Division things. So he's really interesting to watch wrestle. He has wrestled in TNA matches before. I guess they just haven't actually signed him up until this point. But definitely keep your eyes out for Ricky Sosa. He's definitely a really interesting wrestler to watch when it comes to doing high flying and high risk moves, being as tall as he is. That's the biggest thing that stood out to me when it comes to Ricky Sosa. And then they cut to a backstage vignette, and this is the whole reason I really wanted to talk about TNA Sacrifice 2026, is the White Rabbit has been a kind of a reoccurring segment happening in TNA and backstage vignettes and stuff. And it appeared again and was kind of bringing Milo Moore into around the backstage area and stuff. And she went down a hallway, and then lo and behold, who comes out from behind? Then our good friend, our buddy Jessica Havoc, coming back to TNA. We haven't seen her in, I believe, a year or more on television for TNA. She's back. We all know her here in the Croakitoad community's fellow Twitch streamer, twitch.tv Jessica Havoc. I've always been a huge fan of hers. We met in real life when they were in Slammiversary in Dallas several years ago. And she's a good friend of the community and the Croakitoad community. So really happy to see Jessica Havoc back on TNA television. Hopefully it leads to more things for her, opportunities for her to be on TV. That's really awesome. And I love how also TNA has been kind of going back and bringing some of the old names back. Obviously ODB has been reoccurring here lately. They even brought back, what's her name? I got to find it now. ODB brought back, who is the lady that was started off as a referee, but then she became a wrestler and won the women's title. Her name's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it. Dang it.
Blonde?
Yes. Starts with a T.
Yeah, T. She went with like the hot mess gimmick in TNA, if I'm not mistaken.
Geez. You guys out there in listening world probably know exactly who I'm talking about. I can't think of her name right now, but they even brought her back, which was a huge shocker. She started off as a TNA referee, and then she migrated into a actual wrestler, and actually ended up being a pretty good wrestler. And we haven't seen her in many, many years, and they brought her back out. And then also a very interesting thing with TNA lately is I believe they actually signed Candice Michelle to a contract as well. So that was also a big shocker. TNA's been really making some moves when it comes to their roster lately, which is really, really bringing some attention to them. But we moved on after that to the Knockouts Championship. It was Ariana Grace, who is the current champion, obviously the daughter of Santino Marella. And she defeated Li Ying Li and Dani Luna in a triple threat to retain her belt. There was a lot of hype going into Dani Luna going into this match. She's been kind of booked as a machine and a monster, and she ended up losing and getting pinned actually by the champion Ariana Grace to retain the belt, while Li Ying Li was just kind of in the middle, being previous champion and whatnot. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Li Ying Li. She was Xia Li, yeah. She was Xia Li in WWE. I can't believe I completely forgot her name after I said I'm a big fan of hers. I feel stupid now. But yeah, I love seeing her still on the roster. She used to be the Knockouts champion before she lost the belt, and now Ariana Grace is the current champion. And yeah, it was okay triple threat match. I know a lot of people were really weirded out by the fact that Dani Luna took the loss there after they were building her up to be like this big monster. And they're both basically billed as heels, while Li Ying Li is a face, and she could have easily taken the loss and allowed Dani Luna to keep her build going, but it is what it is. And then after that, we had Grim's favorite wrestler, who is now in TNA, who has been in TNA, teaming up with Tasha Steelz, Mustafa Ali and Tasha Steelz, who are in a group, I don't know what they call themselves, Order 4 group, where they wear business suits and stuff, and Mustafa Ali is like the head honcho, and they defeated Trey Miguel and Jada Stone. And Jada Stone has been a thorn in the side of Mustafa Ali's entire stable for months now, and they finally got the big win over Trey Miguel. I don't know why I keep saying Miguel. Trey Miguel and Jada Stone in tag action. It was good to see Mustafa Ali finally get a win back after Jada Stone completely obliterated his entire stable. And then I believe Mustafa Ali also lost the guitar casket match or whatever he had with
Elijah.
Yeah, Elijah a few months back, and then he came back and he had cut his hair and everything. So Mustafa Ali been on the losing end of a lot of matches in the previous months, so it's good to see him finally get a big win on pay-per-view and tag action alongside Tasha Steelz for his group. And then after that, we saw Moose defeating Eddie Edwards by DQ. This is a big storyline going on where the system headed by Eddie Edwards, or as my fellow friend on YouTube, Marky D, calls him, Eddie Slapnut Edwards, is the head honcho, and he's got like a group. And Moose used to be a part of the group, and then they turned on him and kicked him out. And now Moose is like going through each of the members of the group to get his revenge, whatever. And Eddie Edwards' wife, Alicia Edwards, has been kind of Moose's sidekick and all this, and everyone's kind of predicting she's eventually going to turn on him. It's almost kind of obvious at this point, but yeah, we had Moose defeating Eddie Edwards by DQ, and because they made an agreement with Mustafa Ali to have Agent Zero come out and attack him from behind, and yeah, it was just kind of a throwaway match, real quick. And then after this, we had Mara Said. I can never say her last name. Mara Shady. I like her as a wrestler. I can just never say her last name, but she defeated Elena Black. Mara Sadie. No, it's Sade. I think Sade or something. Sade, something. I like her as a wrestler. She's really cool, but I just can never say her last name. But she defeated Elena Black in a new DQ match. There was a lot of weapons in this. There were even thumbtacks. Obviously, Elena Black is the former Cora Jade from WWE in NXT and OnlyFans aficionado. But she's now in TNA. She was brought back during this AMC era, and they had a no DQ match. And they actually took bumps on thumbtacks and fire extinguishers and all kinds of stuff, and really crazy match. But Mara Shade, I think I got it right there that time, wins this match. And I feel like they're really building her up to get a shot at the Knockouts title, because she's really been looking good lately in terms of booking. And a win here over Elena Black was really big for her. And then after that, we had Brian Myers and Cedric Alexander, part of the Eddie Edwards system, defeating Jeff Hardy and Vincent. This is a match that was originally for the TNA tag titles, but Matt Hardy was ambushed backstage in a stairwell, and Vincent and his buddy, I don't remember, Vincent and Dutch, I think their names are. They were like, oh, we don't know who beat up Matt Hardy. I don't know. And then it was revealed, oh yeah, we did beat up Matt Hardy. So they're kind of like building these guys up to take on the Hardys for the tag belts. And in the meantime, Brian Myers and Cedric Alexander, part of Eddie Edwards' system, was booked here to look strong against them in a tag match because of the betrayal. And so it keeps them looking strong after the thing with Moose earlier on the show, I'm assuming is what they were going with here. Overall, it was kind of like just a throwaway match. Like, I don't know why they didn't just do this on the regular TNA show, why they did this on pay-per-view. They could have had the big reveal in some other fashion. I don't know why they had to book a hodgepodge tag match to do this, but it's neither here nor there. And then after that, Taryn Terrell. There it is. Taryn Terrell. That was the name. Yeah, the Elegance brand came out, and then there was ODB that was coming out and bringing back just these old school people with like Mickey James, and then Taryn Terrell. That's who we were thinking of. She made her big return. I think they're going to lead up to some big 6-man tag or something in the future. But again, I'm really liking how TNA is digging back into the vaults, into the archives on some of these roster members. Like we saw Raven last week on the show. I was super stoked to see that. I'm a huge fan of Raven. And of course, Rosemary has been doing all the 7 deadly sins thing right now. And I think that's really cool. And now Jessica Havoc is back. So really loving that. And then we go to the main event of the pay-per-view. TNA World title is Mike Santana, who's been the champion, taking on Steve Macklin, who in the Feast or Fired got the fired briefcase, so he was technically gone. And then he attacked Mike Santana, and then they brought him back under a contract. And then they have been like leading up to this main event match here on the pay-per-view for the TNA World title. And wow, it didn't even last like 5 minutes. Like one of the first moves that happened in the match, Santana threw a super kick up in the air and just clocked Steve Macklin on the side of the head. He collapsed. His arm was like spazzing out on the mat. It honestly kind of gave me like nostalgia of what we were talking about, I believe 2 episodes ago, with the OVW referee, like sitting there spazzing out on the mat. It was giving me kind of vibes like that. But instead of OVW's situation, TNA was right there on the spot. They had referees out there. They had medical people out there. The main TNA guy was out there at ringside. They were like on him like immediately to check on him. They paused the match. They told, Mike Santana, like, calm down. The referee threw the X up. They had this handled. They were right there. It wasn't an OVW situation, which was good. And I guess Eddie Edwards saw this backstage and either called an audible or someone told him, or Tommy Dreamer maybe told him, like, go out there and like take a bump to send the fans home happy because this match is screwed. So Eddie Edwards ran out there, who has a #1 contendership shot against Mike Santana, by the way. So this did make sense. But Eddie Edwards ran out there and got put through a table, and that let the fans get something out of the main event after the incident. I haven't went back to check and see what has happened as a result of this with Steve Macklin. I feel like I heard that it wasn't a huge injury. Like he just got his bell rung really, really bad, and he's okay. I don't think there was like anything life-threatening or anything, but it did look bad when he was like there on the mat, and had a lot of people really concerned. But they were TNA staff. I give them credit. They were on it and they had it handled. So kind of a really interesting way to end off the TNA pay-per-view. And like I said, we don't really cover TNA a whole lot here on the podcast, but between the Jessica Havoc appearance and what happened in the main event, just want to kind of touch on that here on the podcast. Grem, did you have anything you wanted to add to anything that happened in TNA? I'm not really sure if you watch it regularly enough to know anything, or maybe one of the matches spoke out to you or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, if, I like you, I have a finger on the pulse. Real quickly, the Mara person was actually Jakara Jackson in NXT. So it was 2 like NXT people going one-on-one. Other than that, as you said, like a lot of wrestlers that were in TNA or even NXT have kind of move their way a little bit to TNA if they get released, and like you said too, a lot of the talent that is available before WWE gets them, they usually get them as well. I know WWE does have, I think, a good chunk in TNA or something of that nature.
Yeah, they have a working partnership.
Yeah. So it does help them in the long run too. But it's definitely worth checking out TNA if you guys want to watch something a little bit different. And yeah, I usually try to keep up with like what's going on with Mustafa Ali as one of my favorites. So
there have been a lot of people clamoring for him to get an actual world title shot. I don't know how they could pull that off before this event, because he's been on the losing side of like he lost to Jada Stone in his whole stable. Like it looked terrible booking. Yep. And then before that, the casket thing. But hopefully this win gets him in the right direction to maybe get Eddie Edwards' shot out of the way and get him out of there. And then Mustafa Ali can be the next in line to get a shot.
Yeah,
I would say.
It also looks like he's kind of going for like the international championship with, Trey being the champion as well. When it comes to, Mustafa, though, with his gimmick right now is kind of like the president kind of aspect with his, like service people around him. It gives at least the stable a little bit of, some life. But yeah, you're right. I mean, other than that, though, pretty good show from what I saw. And just that main event was just kind of, it sucks that happened, but it does happen. And, like you had said, TNA was on it real quick, and made sure that, it was salvaged the best that it could be.
Yeah. Yeah. He definitely took a legitimate concussion. That much is known for sure. Like he was absolutely concussed and he was just like laid out, but he did get it back up to his feet and just looked like he had his bell rung and was like blinking and just like trying to figure things out. So it doesn't seem like it's like a really serious, I mean, obviously concussions are serious, but it wasn't like a life or death injury or anything like that, which is really good. But it's just unfortunate that happened in their main event for the world title on a pay-per-view. But that just goes to show you never know what will happen in the world of professional wrestling. But it is good that TNA was right there on it immediately. And it just goes to show that they had those precautions in check and everyone was on the same page in case of emergency like that. So that's really good. All right, well, that'll wrap up our sports talk and wrestling talk. We're going to move on over to the world of Croakitoad and its community, or should I say my community. And we're just going to talk about real quickly this week in Croakitoad, and it's going to be a short one because I only streamed one time last week. Hopefully we can change all that starting this week now that I'm actually home this weekend. But I just wanted to overview what I did last week, and that was just the one stream on March 24th, which was Tuesday. And again, we didn't have a CPW because we're still currently in the process of transferring everybody over from 2K25 over to 2K26. I can say at the time of this recording, I believe we have 67 people created, and I think we will be greenlit for an actual CPW show tomorrow night on 2K26 as well. So fingers crossed that'll actually happen and go down, and we'll have our very first show on the new video game. But what I did last Tuesday was play the indie game Kuromaku, which was a game created by Bad Game Studios, who is in attendance. And I played the demo for this game back during Steam Next Fest as well, a month or two ago, and quickly became friends with Bad Game Studios. They've been a frequent visitor to my Twitch streams and on social media and stuff. And yeah, it was a pretty fun game. It's what you would expect from a horror indie video game on Steam. It's got 3 different endings, which I did get during my stream. Basically, you're a kid and you're left alone and at the house of your mother. Your parents had a divorce and your dad is somewhere. Your mother has left you alone for the weekend to go to work. Excuse me. And while the days are going through and you're home alone, you're doing certain tasks like going grocery shopping, cleaning up, doing chores and stuff. And then weird things start happening. Strangers show up at your house. And there was a really funny clip of an old man jump scaring me to death in the game while I was talking to our friend OG Brad Vickers. So that was a pretty funny moment of that stream and that playthrough of that game. But yeah, I definitely implore anyone who's fans of Steam indie horror games to check out Kuromaku. Just came out and it's developed by Bad Game Studios, our good friends there. So check that game out and wishlist it in the very least. Check it out. I did get all 3 endings on my YouTube playthrough, which is available on YouTube now. And it was a good time. It was a good time. I did it all in under 2 hours. So not a long game, but definitely has its replay value and it was a lot of fun. But that's what I did last week for streaming for Croakitoad. And now we're going to switch on over to the Croakitoad stream team community and what they were up to throughout last week. I'm just going to briefly overview what everyone said that they were doing. And we'll start off with our first person to reply to the post. And that was Coke Soda Can, who said that they were going to be going for the Tomb Raider Challenge Mode achievements, which were the 15 additional achievements added to Tomb Raider Remastered 1, 2, 3. And then apparently there was some NASCAR last night. Is that right, Coke?
Yep. Well, it didn't entirely pan out that way. I did try going for the last achievement in Tomb Raider 2 for the challenge run thing, and I just rage quit it on stream because I would not have, I would have snapped if I had to do it on stream.
Now, was that
But I did eventually get the Megalodon one.
Oh, you did get that one. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I did it off stream because, what I had to do at the end, I probably would have just snapped.
Okay, so you did eventually get it, or you still?
I did eventually get it, but I didn't stream it.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay, so you now have all 15 of them.
Yep.
Nice. Congrats on that. Cool.
And when it comes to the NASCAR, we did play it, but we didn't stream it.
Oh, okay. Little incognito NASCAR stream off stream, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But yeah, All right, well, there you go. Coke Soda Can getting all 15 of those brand new added Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3 remastered achievements, joining the club of Closing Sniper, myself, and I think Badass Games also did it as well. Yeah, welcome to the club. Welcome to the club, son.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we move on to the next posts that people were talking about throughout the week. Last week in the Croakitoad stream team, we had Endo Girl 1982 doing some Disneyland, Disney Dream World Adventures, and maybe some No Man's Sky there. So that's awesome, and probably no doubt some WWE mixed in there as well. Endo Girl 1982. Then we had Lucinda, my good friend Lucinda, doing some more Resident Evil 9, going for all achievements on her Insanity run. And boy, oh boy, I cannot wait to finally get my Resident Evil Requiem copy from Walmart on December 31st, 2026, so that I can finally start getting achievements on that game on the Xbox. But I really hope, Lucinda, your run on RE9 is going well and you get all the achievements / trophies you want to get in Insanity. Sounds like you just about got all of them. So kudos to you, Lucinda. And then we move over to Queen Savi, who is also doing some Resident Evil 9, only this time, instead of going for achievements, she is going for what Queen Savi is known for, and that's doing challenges and / speed runs. And she's currently going on a Resident Evil 9 no damage run right now throughout this previous week. So dang, mad props and kudos to you, Queen Savi, on trying to beat Resident Evil 9 without taking any damage whatsoever. That is very impressive. And I'm not sure if you utilize the Leon knife parry a lot to do that, or if you take somewhat damage doing that, or I'm not really sure how that all works, but that's definitely impressive nevertheless. Then we move over to Daniel McGee, known as I Am Daniel McGee on Twitch, who has said that they were going to be streaming some Sonic Racing Cross Worlds and for the Mega Man Festival, and then some Power Wash Simulator 2. So that's awesome. Awesome. Lots of variety there between Sonic Racing for the Mega Man Festival and then Power Wash Simulator 2. We're huge fans of Power Wash Simulator 2 around here for sure. Then Lone Star, one of our newest members of the Croakitoad stream team, saying that he was going to be gone for his girlfriend's birthday. So happy birthday to your girlfriend, Lone Star. Hopefully it was a good one. Jojo Spud, actually our legitimately newest member of the Croakitoad stream team, our 50th member, Jojo Spud 247, twitch.tv, Jojo Spud 247, said that she was going to play some Pokemon Pokopia, a game that we reviewed, I think, on podcast episode number 1. Might have been number 2. But was going to get back into that, but then did some Resident Evil 9 Insanity with no infinite ammo. Pretty tough, but doable. Lots of people still on that Resident Evil 9 Requiem right now to get some challenges done and maybe get some trophies and stuff like that. That's really awesome. It's really making me want to just digitally buy the game on Xbox so I can finally just dive in and get those achievements rather than wait on this stupid Walmart order to never come for the Steelbook. And then we had, let's see, Puerto Rican Chipmunk, twitch.tv Puerto Rican Chipmunk, saying that she was going to do some Eden Eternal. So that's awesome. That's awesome. And then twitch.tv Feats Beats Games saying that he was going to do some more of that Dino Crisis any percent speedruns on Sunday. And I believe he did, in fact, do that. So best wishes to Feats Beats Games there on Twitch on his Dino Crisis any percent runs, trying to move up in the leaderboards and get ever so closer to number 1 on those leaderboards. And then Zozokin, a listener of the podcast, actually. So shout out to twitch.tv Zozokin, who has been enjoying our podcasts. Thank you for listening. Appreciate that. Said that he had some internet issues, but he's going to get back to Zelda Ocarina of Time as soon as possible. And then he's been doing a solo archipelago run, which is a multi-world randomizer, which is very interesting. I was there at a stream 2 weeks ago watching him do this, and apparently you go from like retro game to retro game. Like you switch off, you collect an item in one game and then it shoots you over to another game and you have to collect another item there. And then you go switch back and forth. It's really interesting. I was actually kind of brain fogged on what I was watching, but it seems like something that I would like to try, but very, very cool. I've never seen anything really like that before, but Hopefully those runs are going well for you, and hopefully you can get your internet issues worked out so you can get back on that Ocarina of Time. There's Zozakin, one of my oldest friends from the JTV era, still kicking it on the streaming on Twitch. And then last but not least, we had Tommy Spud saying that he was doing some March Madness simulations because of March Madness going on in real life. He's using one of the old retro basketball games to do this and basically simulate his own March Madness through his video game. His Final Four was Duke versus Florida and BYU versus Georgia. So that's interesting. Interesting Final Four there. But yeah, that's what Tommy Spud was up to, who apparently will also be joining us at QuakeCon 2026 in August in Dallas. So that's cool. Good to see him back joining the ranks again. And then as we record this podcast right now, Urkamus is currently playing Final Fantasy VII Remake and currently getting through that right now. And of course, I also want to shout out, I know I did this in Bring Your Own News, but I'll go ahead and shout this out real quick. NASA Powerlifting was also streaming on Saturday doing a powerlifting competition and had some really good views and support there. So really awesome to see NASA Powerlifting back on Twitch again. And it should be back in 2 weeks' time doing the high school national championships, where high schools from all across the U.S. will be coming in to compete and it will be nothing but high schoolers. It's our high school nationals powerlifting championships in Oklahoma City, and hoping to live stream that on Saturday and Sunday in 2 weeks' time. But yeah, that's a little bit of shout out to the world of Croakitoad in the stream team. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the group, and keep on plugging out there, keep on streaming and knocking those games out. All right. Do we want to reveal streamer of the week and then go to the Q&A, or do we want to do the Q&A and then go to streamer of the week?
It's up to you. Normally you play a clip at the very end, so.
All right. You know what? We'll do the streamer of the week and then we'll do the Q&A. I know it's getting late, so we'll try to slam through this quickly. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and reveal let's see, it would be the fifth annual Croakitoad Gaming Streamer of the Week. And this week it goes to none other than the aforementioned Urkamus. Round of applause, sound effects. Urkamus, who I'm watching right now play Final Fantasy VII Remake. And he has been known to play not only Final Fantasy VII, but also I know we've covered him a little bit before. He's also all over Resident Evil Requiem. He's been playing Reanimal lately, but he's usually a Resident Evil streamer. He also does the Killing Antidote and just really plays a lot of different stuff. Really kind of a variety gamer, but you can always rely on him playing horror games in the Resident Evil series and stuff. Also playing No Rest for the Wicked as well here as of 3 days ago, but a very consistent streamer. Always really fun and positive vibes there at Urkamus. He's always very appreciative of any raids or people that come in to watch his stream. It's always a very fun environment at Urkamus, and he's been really streaming a lot and being very consistent with his streams. And I just wanted to spotlight that to him and let him know that we appreciate his streaming lately, doing that grind, getting through that Final Fantasy VII, and also playing those Resident Evil games as well. So yeah, Urkamus, our fifth Croakitoad Gaming Streamer of the Week. Keep on chugging away, buddy, and I wish you all the best in your streaming, and congratulations to you for that. And with that being said, we are going to actually play a clip from Urkamus's channel because he is our Streamer of the Week, and we're going to play this real quick. This is him playing Resident Evil Requiem, and apparently a jump scare happens. So we'll switch on over to this. Check it out.
Damn it. Hey, nerd. Holy sh... Hi. Dude, go away. So I take it you're done with your shower? Yeah.
Well, no showers here, but that was definitely a jump scare. I've never seen a bear jump scare like that before in the stream. That would certainly get me. But there you go, Urkamus. Congrats on being streamer of the week. Glad to put you out there and get your name on the board there, being our 5th ever. All right, we're going to end off our podcast now with a special thing that we were going to do. Unfortunately, Raji's not here to answer any of his questions, so we will just direct any questions that were sent to him over to Coke, our special guest for our panel here for episode 5. But we'll start straight from the top, and I'll try to get through this as quickly as possible. But before we start with any of the questions, we really appreciate all of the feedback from the community that posted questions and wanted to participate in doing this. We really appreciate y'all. And hopefully for anyone watching for the first time or listening, you'll definitely drop a like, follow, or subscribe, or even reply in the comments saying, what you liked about the podcast, what we could do better, recommendations, and continue posting in our Discord server in the Toad Talk podcast category on subject matter that you would like for us to talk about, whether it be video games, movies, sports, the world of Twitch, streaming, whatever. We would love to hear your thoughts and feedback on that. But yeah, we're going to start from the very top here. Our very first question comes from Ali D 1992, and she says, "What made y'all want to start a podcast together?" And I guess I'll start it off first, and I'll just say, really, I've always had a mind for a podcast in the back of my mind for a while now. I've been wanting to do like interviews back with the community. I did this before with a previous community where I did kind of Q&As and sit downs with various members randomly with the community to try to let everyone get to know each other. But I felt like doing a podcast was kind of 2 birds, 1 stone kind of deal, where we would get to talk about the things that we want to talk about, whether it be in the gaming world, movies, TVs, pop culture, Twitch, our own Twitch channels, whatever, and we could just talk about all of it together and do everything all in one podcast. So and then everyone will get to know each other, and then we'll bring on a special guest once a month to kind of let them know a little bit about them as well. So this is usually where a random member of the community would be in right here to answer questions, but we decided to make ourselves the special guest first so that you all could kind of learn more about us first before we start bringing on special guests. But that's what kind of wanted to do a podcast and do it with my good buddies here on the panel. But I'll send it over to Grem. What made you decide to want to be a part of the podcast other than me asking you?
Well, I think you and I have had quite a connection when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like when it's interviewing Alan that we did twice. A lot of times you and I will just kind of sit and talk, stuff like that. We also did I did a thing back in the day too, where we kind of had not a similar, well, kind of similar to how we do things here, but podcasts are kind of a big thing now, and getting our voices out there is always a huge thing, and if you can do that through podcasting, then obviously it just seemed like it was a good idea, basically, for us both, or not for us, all 3 of us, excuse me, 2 of us here, to kind of get together, have a little fun, and see where it goes.
And then this question would also be sent over to Raji, but Coke is sitting in his seat in his stead, so I'll kind of divert the question a tiny bit. What made you decide that you would be willing to join us for this podcast tonight to fill in the seat of Raji?
Well, we've got the positive report, first of all. And second of all, I'm around all the time, part of the community, it's always fun to banter. So yeah, those 2 things combined with, the necessity made it, just an obvious choice.
Fair enough. Okay, up next, we had a question from Nope, It's Nate for Life. That's Nathan Moore. And this Raji question can't really translate over to Coke, so we might just...
kind of can.
Oh, yeah, I guess it could.
When I helped you win that DVD match last
right, all
QuakeCon.
right. Well, we'll get to that in a second. Let's keep going in order. Okay, so he asked me first what my favorite thing at QuakeCon. I'm assuming this means my favorite thing to do each time I go to QuakeCon. The thing I look forward to the most when I go to QuakeCon each year. I could take the easy question out and say just the swag, but I feel like most people would probably say that the free swag, the shirts, the merch, the mouse pads, the chance at getting new keyboards, controllers, what have you. There's so much stuff being given away at QuakeCon. That's kind of an easy answer, but not really the reason why I go. I think the favorite thing is just to be able to hang out with my close friends. Dustin, for example, Signified. He's the whole reason why I even knew what QuakeCon is. He's the whole reason why I have kept on going. And it's really regrettable that he's not going to be able to make it this year. It's definitely not going to be the same without him, because as I said, the whole reason I started going was because of him. And the whole reason I have kept going is because of him. So I just don't know, not to take away from anything away from anyone who is going this year, but it's just not really going to be the same without Dustin being there. Cause he's just kind of like, we're just kind of like bread and butter when it comes to QuakeCon together down there. But yeah, I think the kinship, the friendship, being able to hang out side by side, sit in the seats next to each other while playing games and streaming, and having that close familiarity with each other over the years at QuakeCon, being able to do what you would normally do at home, but you're sitting next all within each other is really huge. The camaraderie, being able to just go around and check out QuakeCon stuff, having Wizard Boz drop by and hang out for a bit and hang out and do stuff, and then just checking out the exhibition hall. Earlier on in the QuakeCon days, it was the exhibition hall with all the different stuff they had going on, and then the huge, giant in-house releases that they would give to us, like Doom 2006. I believe it's 2006. No, it wasn't 2006. What was it? Doom 2016? The remake Doom. Whatever year that was, when they dropped it on us there in-house at QuakeCon, that was huge. Like Fallout 4 was huge, where they just dropped it on us there before revealing it to anyone else in the world. Those are huge moments, things that I really loved about going back to QuakeCon to see what they were going to do the next year. And I'm really hoping they do that for the new Elder Scrolls for us soon at QuakeCon. But yeah, that, and then the boba tea, there's a boba tea, what do you call it? A merch seller there, a booth, boba tea booth is there. I really love going to the boba tea thing. And yeah, just the camaraderie and the people you meet and getting to hang out and say hello, and getting to hang out with Ninja Bunny and seeing all the regular faces and everything. That's what I love at going to QuakeCon. It's being able to do what I do here, streaming on Twitch, but around people that are on Twitch, basically. And then Nate also asked to Grem, what is your favorite class and race in World of Warcraft?
Well, my main character is a Night Elf Hunter, but it's funny enough, it might not have ever gone that way. When I was doing the open beta, I made an Undead Rogue, and I actually played that a lot. And I played the Night Elf Hunter maybe the last day, and I died on one of the roots from the tree or something, one of the branches of the tree, excuse me. And I was like, gosh, that place sucked. I really don't like that place. And when we were making our characters, we decided to go Alliance rather than Horde. And I was like, all right, well, so I have a soft spot for both those classes and races.
All right. And then Nate asks Raji, which is Coke for tonight, what is your favorite QuakeCon memory?
Well, it's from last year, but it's when I got you the win in that DVD match against that AMD guy.
Yep, and I'm staring at the prize right here. It was an AMD Ryzen little thing that I can set my phone in, like a little lean back AMD Ryzen statue little thing.
It'd be hilarious if I got you like a brand new PC, like fully loaded and everything.
That would be sick.
Every time you turn that computer on, you got to be thinking it was Mr. Coke who got that for you.
And you have to remind me a little bit. How were we on the same team, and then you just kind of?
I didn't play. I told you what you had to do.
Oh, right.
You were Discord streaming it to me, and I was telling you.
Yeah. Okay. Because he was the killer, and I was one of the survivors, and it was like if you were able to survive him, then you could go over there to his seat, and he'd give you a prize. And you were like giving me tips on how to avoid them and stuff. Yeah. Okay.
One of
I
these
remember.
years when I go there, if they do that, we could have like our squad and we could just demolish them, and that'd be
Well, one of
that'd be
these
something.
times when you get a question, then the new answer would be, well, when you came to QuakeCon and teamed up with me and some other people, and we joined the Quake Live Champions tournament and we won the grand prize.
Yeah.
But you got to come here first.
Yeah. I know how to.
All right. Thank you, Nate, for providing those questions. We're going to move on to Azarain now, who dropped some questions for all three of us. And his question for me was, what is your biggest regret in the last 5 years? Biggest regret? Geez, regret? You know what, I'm gonna have to think about this, because I actually, off the top of my head, I don't really have any regrets, to be honest. So I'm gonna think about this and I'll loop back around. Kind of like when you go to a restaurant and you don't know what to order. Yeah, just move on to that person. So he also asked for Grem, if there's one thing you could do again, either experiencing it again for the first time again or having a chance to do something different, what would it be?
So I'm kind of a big believer in everything happens for a reason. So there wouldn't be anything I would ever do different, because ultimately one little thing that I do different, past self, could alter even meeting like you guys. So, but I'll go with the other one, the experiencing again for the first time. Probably, ironically enough, my first Dungeons and Dragons experience with my friends, when we're making the characters and kind of going through and everything. That was just a lot of fun, and that is something that I do miss, and I would love to experience that again.
Nice. Do you know I've never played Well, I joined the tabletop crew, Dustin's group, as like a special guest, like one-off, but I've actually never sat down and actually like was an active participant of a Dungeons and Dragons game before.
Yeah, I think you could, once you kind of got the idea of what was going on. I think you'd be all right, and you'd be fine. I think you liked it.
I think I would too. All right, and Azarain asks to Raji, aka Coke, if there is one change you could make to your personality and you must pick one, what would you change?
I'd make myself more dynamic. I've definitely, I'm kind of flat. No joking, flat with the, Coke,
Because you've been left open too long and all your fizz ran out?
Yeah. Be a bit more dynamic and just,
Okay.
exciting, I guess.
Excitement. Well, I'm going to revert back to the original question for me. What is your biggest regret in the last 5 years? And I have to be honest with you. Not to be that guy, but I don't really kind of like answering like Grem did with his question. I don't really have any regrets. Like the past 5 years have gone so great and well and turned out so well. Everything has happened for a reason. Like Grem said, it was slow and humble beginnings streaming wise in my life. I remember the days when we'd get double-digit viewers on Twitch and we're like, yeah, celebration. Throw the party poppers. We got 12 viewers now. Sweet. We got 20 now. All right, cool. And, it was very slow and humble beginnings, getting Croakitoad launched and off the ground and built back from scratch again. And so I have no regrets when it comes to the streaming side of anything. If anything, and of course in my personal life or work-related life or my day-to-day life, I really don't have any regrets there either. Like everything has just kind of went the way it has supposed to have gone. And specifically in the past 5 years. So really the last thing I can think of when it comes to regrets in the past 5 years is something more on the lines of being like more minuscule, like something like getting WWE 2K25 on the Xbox first before the PC. I'm like talking like stuff like that. Like in hindsight, that was kind of a waste of time because of all the computer issues I had, and then I had to rebuild everybody from scratch. Maybe also ordering Resident Evil Requiem through Walmart for the Steelbook, and because I still haven't gotten it yet, maybe I should have done it through GameStop instead. Maybe I would have had it by now. I don't know. But really, I guess I'm just the type of person that doesn't really regret things that happen. I mean, obviously, bad things happen to us through life. But it makes us stronger and makes us realize what we experienced through was a lesson learned, and to try to avoid or do better to better avoid those situations and move on to a better and more positive path in life. So when you say regret, obviously bad things have happened in 5 years, but nothing like too traumatic or horrible or anything. Like everything's been on an upward climb for me since 2021, and has all led to where things have led to. I mean, I can't really complain right now, to be honest. Like this year has so far has been really good to me. I'm now a Twitch partner. And I mean, what is there to complain about? Everything has happened for a reason. And it was a slow and steady climb to get things built and network out and get to know other fellow peers on Twitch and try to network and get the name out there and stuff. But we eventually did it, and we got her done. So I don't really have any major regrets, to be honest. I know that's kind of a pass on the question in a way, but I really can't think of anything, to be honest. But thank you for the questions there, Azarine. We're going to move over to Endo Girl 1982, who asked me, what was your favorite movie growing up, and what is your favorite movie now? Ooh, favorite movie growing up. I have to say, when I was a little kid, I probably have to go with either the Ninja Turtles movie, the live action TMNT, or Little Nemo, the animated Little Nemo. I really enjoyed that movie as well. What is my favorite movie now? I'll always say that Aliens, the second one, Aliens and the original Predator are probably my, like, and The Thing with Kurt Russell. Those three movies are, if you ask me any given day, they're going to be number one. So the original Predator with Arnold, Aliens 2 with Bill Paxton in company and Stay Frosty, and then The Thing with Kurt Russell. Those are probably my favorite movies of all time right now. So yeah, thanks for the question. And she asked, Grem, what was your favorite school subject as a kid and why?
So I kind of had two. The actual like real school subject is math, but actually PE, physical education. I loved that. I loved PE. Like I enjoyed PE so much. But math was like the actual like subject, if you want to put. Math was my favorite.
Okay. You're probably in the minority when you say that.
What, math or PE?
Yes. No, math.
Math. Yeah, I don't know why. I like numbers. My worst subject actually was English, which is funny because I type extremely well in terms of like making sure punctuation is correct, but it was my worst subject.
Okay, and then she asked for Raji there in Coke. Do you have a favorite food joint for people to check out in your area if they are in the area?
Yeah, Nardelli's. They make grinders, hoagies. Yeah, I love their the meatball grinder they've got. So yeah, if you're into like sandwiches and you're in Connecticut, that's where you want to go.
What was the name of it again?
Nardelli's.
Nardelli's. Okay.
Yeah, they make, grinders, hoagies, whatever.
Nice.
I love me some hoagies.
Oh yeah. Not from Sheets, but from Nardelli's.
Hey, I went 3 hours one time to get a Sheets hoagie.
Did you pick up
the primary thing?
Did you pick up Roxas along the way?
No, God no.
All right, we move on to our questions from Fuse for Spence, and he asked me, you have been streaming on various platforms for many years, doing a vast variety of content. E-feds, art, game completions, workout streams, charity events. Now that you are a Twitch partner, what would you say are a few of your proudest moments in your streaming career leading up to your rise to partner? Oh my goodness, what a question. Oh man. I think back to the earliest humble beginnings back in like 2009 when I first came to Justin.tv, bringing RCWF eFed here. Earliest on, I'd say my proudest moment was being able to be invited to the Justin.tv partner program back when it was like only 20 or 30 people that were getting those emails to be added to the partnership program. That's probably one of my earliest, proudest moments. Being able to stream each night and have a counter. I remember we used to have a counter of how many streams in a row we'd get 100+ viewers in the stream on JTV. That's when I knew things were really rocking and rolling for streaming with me early on. But then as I grew through that, I wanted to play more games than just wrestling games all the time. And I wanted to expand out and just play stuff I never played as a kid. I didn't have certain consoles or games as a kid. I wanted to experience for myself that everyone else was able to. And so that kind of took away a bit of the power that had by just being that wrestling content guy, and kind of dropped numbers a bit over the years. But definitely that would be a proudest moment, being able to actually go back and play all these games that people always experience that I had never played. Also a proudest moment for me as well. Games like the original Final Fantasy games like Super Mario 64, games like geez, you name it. Like, there's so many games that I, as a kid, I was like, that looks dumb. That looks so stupid. If it's not wrestling or Resident Evil, I don't care. You know, Tomb Raider, for example. I never played a Tomb Raider game until I started expanding out and streaming them. You know, I was very late to the party to Tomb Raider, and I would consider myself a fan of the Tomb Raider series. So I'm really proud that I have expanded myself and my gaming repertoire to be able to play games like this, whether it be an old school NES game or a current 2026 drop, or any platform or genre kind of game it is. You know, as silly as Hello Kitty and the Puppies game, or the Bratz game, or the Barbie games. You know, I play all those, or the Sesame Streets, or serious games like Resident Evil, Doom, Final Fantasy, Gears of War. You have it. So the variety is definitely there, and I'm really proud to be able to go back and notch off those games that I missed. But also, I'm also really proud of the community that I've established here in recent memory when it comes to Croakitoad. I feel like this is the most wholesome, laid back, and just the best overall genuine community I've ever had since streaming. I really feel really pleased and grateful that we've accumulated the community that we have here at Croakitoad throughout the past 5 years to grow it into what it is now. And there's just so many really good and amazing people that are a part of it, and fellow streamers that have supported me to get to where I am, that I've met through the website. And it's just really, I really makes me feel blessed and lucky to be able to have crossed paths with so many amazing people out there to get to where I am now. Not just only because I'm a partner, that really has nothing to do with it. It's just the experiences and the people that I've met along the way. For example, people like Lucinda and Necro. You know, before Croakitoad, I had never met them. And through Croakitoad, I have. We just started off as mutuals on Twitch. And then look at us now. We've met 3 or 4 times now in real life. And, that's a friendship that transcends just seeing each other on Twitch on a website. And I could say the same for a lot of my friends that I've known for a long time. People like Zazarus and Asterial, people like Signified, Dustin. I met him through Twitch originally. You know, I've met so many Wizard Boss. The list goes on. I know I'm forgetting so many people, but you know, I've met so many amazing people throughout the years where that friendship has held, and they've grown into becoming some of my closest friends in my entire life. And I'm really proud of that as well. But yeah, I just really am blessed and thankful for all the people that have supported me over the years, no matter what year you found me, or when you found me, or what game I was playing when you found me, that you're still here and a supporter of mine, and I can call you a friend. And that's what I really am proud of the most. But yes, Grem, you have been a pillar of this community in every iteration of it. Showing kindness and support towards everyone and everything brings smiles to all. What are the most influential forces in your life that keep you happy and smiling?
Well, obviously, having a good support group, when it comes to friends, that usually helps out immensely, no matter if you're going through a rough time or if you're just, on top of the world. It helps out immensely. So surrounding yourself with those type of people are very hard at times. But at the same time, too, with the internet and everything, it is a lot easier to find, the right people and the people that you need to hang around. I see it all the time though, with like people just hanging around the wrong type of people, and their negativity shows a lot. Ironically enough, at my job, and this recently happened on Saturday, where I had someone who was just very negative about the situation. We were down a person, and we were very, very busy, and positivity and everything. Just staying happy, staying focused on the job, and getting through. I could tell it was breaking a little bit with him. Like, he still wanted to be mad, but it was another thing too, where it's like, hey, like, this is the boat we're in. Let's just sail, and hope we get to where we need to go. And that's just thankfully I've kind of learned that positive thinking and that mindset really gets you through a lot of tough situations. And it it's not always just usually work, but it's any rough situation. A lot of people kind of like just give up and give in, and sometimes it's just the easier thing to do. But you can't always be happy and smiling every single time. But it's good to have friends around you that when you are feeling down and you're at your worst, like, you can just pop on and be like, hey, what's going on? You get a joke or two, and you have a little fun. So a strong circle of friends is very, very key and crucial to keep you're not only yourself, but just that mindset going.
Very good answer. Very good. And then he asked Raji there in Coke, over the years, you brought many pro wrestling dream matches to life with your show TCW. With the current state of pro wrestling, what do you think would be the greatest dream match and why? So I'm going to twist this question around, because Coke obviously didn't do TCW, is not much of a pro wrestling fan. So I'm going to twist this into a question that he would be able to answer. You know all about CPW and the EFED and the wrestling, and being able to basically create and bring into the wrestling game whoever you can put your mind to and create. So if you were the man with the hands on the steering wheel with the driver tutorial song playing in the background, what would be your greatest dream match of creations that you would like to see go one-on-one in your WWE 2K26? Out of anyone, anything from any media, pop culture, video game, movie, TV, anything you could make, what would you like to see one-on-one?
Does it just have to be a one-on-one, or could it be like a free-for-all match?
I was trying to make it easy on you with one-on-one, but if you want to throw as many, then go ahead.
Solid Snake, Sam Fisher, Garrett from Thief, Agent 47. Let's see, just all like the stealth guys. Put them in a match and see who wins.
What about Grem's favorite stealth guy, Styx?
Hey, the new Styx game came out.
Dang, that's
a few weeks ago.
That's a callback. Wow.
Just make sure you don't have any sound effects.
Yeah, don't be sleeping on the job, and you should be fine.
He'd probably win, honestly.
Probably would.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you for those questions, Spence. Always very delightful, and always brings so much food for thought to the community, Spence. Thank you for that. Our next question comes from Signified. Question for all three of us. One single question. What was your biggest goal growing up? If you've achieved said goal, what's your next goal in life? My biggest, I kind of have two answers for this. One's kind of a soppy, a soppy, like, really answer. And the other one's like more of a childhood answer. I'll go with the childhood answer first. My biggest goal growing up was to become a professional wrestler. That obviously didn't pan out because the job that I do right now is so involved. I wouldn't have had time to take off and go to wrestling school. And trust me, I tried to look. I tried to find them. I tried to plan it out. Like, look, I'm going to be taking 6 months off to go travel here and go to wrestling school to become a pro wrestler. It just wouldn't work. The schedule that I have now for the work that I do is just so I mean, I'd get time off, but it would be very hard to do that and pull that off. So I realized quickly that that wasn't going to happen. But I would have loved in a multiverse to be able to go to wrestling school, try to become a professional wrestler, even if it wasn't even to make it to WWE. Maybe I made it somewhere in the Indies, just to be able to live that dream and do that. Go out through the curtains, entertain the crowd, get them to hate me and throw stuff at me or boo me, or cheer for me, and just become a wrestler. That's what I wanted to do growing up when I first started watching wrestling. It was my dream to be able to do that, but reality set in, and I realized if I'm going to keep doing what what I'm doing now, it's just not going to work. I'm not going to be able to do both careers, unfortunately. And then my soppy answer, my goal as I become a little bit more mature in life, was to do what most men would like to do when they're older, is find a wife and have children and have a family. And I know that sounds, wow, really? That's so Hallmark Channel. But really, that's my goal right now. I'm getting up there in age. So now's the time, I'm not trying to rush anything, and I'm not trying to speed run to, anything. If it happens, it happens. I'm of that mindset, but eventually you're going to get too old, and I want to be able to enjoy that portion of my life and, settle in and find somebody and have little tads of my own and tadettes of my own at some point. But now we move on from Hallmark Channel question over to Grem. What was your biggest goal growing up? And if you've achieved that goal, what's next?
Dang. So don't change that channel, because we're going to stay right in the Hallmark section of this. You kind of took my thunder a little bit on that one. Actually, yeah, I want to be a dad. I really do. I know the age thing and everything like that. It might only be just one, but I'm a dog dad right now, so I enjoy that very, very much. But yeah, it's definitely wanted to be a dad. That was always like, even me when I was a teen, I was like, I feel like I can do this. I feel like I can, and I've learned so much along the way. Whether it's taking care of my sister. My sister and I are 18 years apart. So obviously, when she was born, I was 18. So kind of learning a little bit that way. Taking care of my godson when he was born, when I moved down here, and and little things that I picked up along the way. On top of that, it's funny you mentioned the wrestling thing. I think another kind of, like, I guess, personal goal would actually be to referee a wrestling match. I know I could probably take a spot or two, but at the same time, I think refereeing would be kind of more my suit in terms of like my stature and everything, kind of the person that I am. Plus, on top of that, kind of like seeing what they do in that ring is very intriguing. So I would love to potentially experience that. I mean, I could probably do that up until whatever age. I mean, referee is not too difficult. But something like that, like in a wrestling match, I would like to give it a shot.
All right, so I wanted to add an asterisk question answer to the goal question from Signified, which was the goal growing up. This isn't really necessarily a goal growing up, although I guess it kind of fits into that. But a goal that I have right now, I would say, would be to learn enough to become a game developer and develop my own video game. I would say that's probably one of my top goals, definitely top 5 goals right now, that I would like to do. Like some sort of video game, I would like to go in, develop it, learn the Unity engine or whatever engine, and just get cracking and create my own video game. That's what I would like to do next. Take it to the next step. Instead of being a content creator and a streamer, I want to be the one to make games as well. So I just wanted to add that special asterisk to my answer. But we'll revert this over to Coke now. What was your biggest goal growing up? And if you've achieved said goal, what's next in life?
Well, I've got my overarching goal, which is, as you said, very Hallmark Channel, if you know what I mean. And then,
Mm-hmm.
like, my other, like, I just have, I don't know what you'd say, like, compartmentalize smaller goals and then, like, work towards them, get them, move on to, like, another goal, and so on and so forth. Right now, I really don't have any of those, smaller goals. 'Cause, like, day by day, week by week, month by month kinda goals.
So it
The
just
last goal
changes.
actually kind of actually was just getting that last, Tomb Raider achievement. You can believe it or not. It's like my mindset is, "Okay, I want that. How do I do that? How can I do that with, like, my skills and, the knowledge that I have?" I was researching and then, I was, like, asking, Badass Games about what he did and, CS, and then, yeah, I followed through with that and I got that. Now I just gotta figure out my next goal. 'Cause, we're gamers and we like to grind crap out.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. All right. Our next questions comes from Puerto Rican Chipmunk, aka Maggie, and she has 2 questions for all 3 of us. The same questions. Who inspired you to stream, and what first game you tried out, if you can remember, to stream? So I don't really have anyone that inspired me to stream, because back when I started streaming, it was very much in its infancy. This was like 2009. Like, I believe YouTube was kind of still a brand new thing at that time, especially live streaming. We're talking like the days before Adobe FME, before using a Rock Band microphone up to the TV speaker. Like, we're talking like pre all of that. We're talking like putting a webcam up to the TV screen and streaming your stuff through that. So I didn't really have anyone that inspired me to stream. When I first heard about the website, I was like, oh, wow, you can actually live stream your gaming on the internet and people can just watch you on a website do it. And that was my first thoughts when I thought about it. It wasn't like any one person that was like, oh, man, I want to do that. So I didn't really have anyone to inspire me. I kind of was the trendsetter when it came to all of it, to be honest with you. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I was definitely the first one to bring like the wrestling e-fetting aspect, like turning it into like a show, like you're watching wrestling on TV, but it's through a video game and all these characters are your characters based on a show format, instead of just, like playing the game, controller versus computer campaign and stuff like that, and just messing around. So I was literally like the first one to do that when it came to Justin TV, and was really kind of the trendsetter on that. So I kind of like set the tone and paved the way for all the other people to come through and do that after me. And the first game I tried out for live streaming was probably one of the WWE games for sure, on Justin TV, I would say, because that's the whole reason why I came onto the website, was to carry on the EFED tradition through a different format rather than America Online chat rooms. But before we even got to that, I do remember a time that I did, and we tell the story a lot, that I actually streamed on Yahoo Live video chat with my webcam pointed at the TV. I played The Thing video game on the PS2, I believe, with the webcam pointed at the monitor to Nathan Moore, and he was watching me play the game through that, and watching on Yahoo Live Cam or Live Chat or something, whatever. They had like a webcam version of Yahoo, and we did that, and that was actually before Justin TV. So that was actually my first experience of streaming something to somebody, and so I always remember that, and we always tell that story. But there's kind of a double-edged answer for your question there. But now we go to Grem. Who inspired you to stream, and what's the first game you tried out?
Well, ironically enough, you actually would be the person that inspired me to stream, because when I met up with you and everything like that, watching you streaming your e-feds and everything, and then back in the day doing the channel thing, won't go too much into it, inspired me to kind of get on board and kind of see if I can do this kind of thing, not for like a job or anything, but just to do it. And the first game I ever tried out was Super Mario Bros. Because we got a Nintendo Entertainment System. That was the game that came with it. So that was my first taste of video games.
Oh, so do you think she meant the first video game you ever played or the first game you ever
Oh,
streamed?
that's what I thought. But I guess the first game I ever streamed was probably WoW, honestly. So,
okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a separate question. Either or.
Okay, well, I'll also answer that as well real quick. First game I ever tried was probably the same answer, Super Mario Brothers on the NES. So same for me for that double-edged question. Okay, now Coke, well, who inspired you to start streaming, and what was the first game you ever played, and what was the first game you ever streamed, if you can remember?
Okay, the first when remember Xfire? They added like the live streaming feature, and then
I remember Xfire, yeah.
And then it was Metal Gear Solid 2, and I remember I had a hot mic moment when it came to a specific part of Metal Gear Solid 2. Yeah.
And
I believe I said the story before.
Yes, you have.
I think I was like 2010, maybe 2011.
Okay. What was the first game you ever played? Period.
I legitimately cannot remember that, but I remember when I got that PlayStation 1, first game I played, Test Drive Off-Road on that thing.
Nice. Do you remember what the first game you did on Twitch? And did anyone inspire you to start on Twitch?
Well, Matt kind of inspired me to like stream Tomb Raider. And then you kind of inspired me to, stream on a more regular basis. But I can't remember the first game I streamed on Twitch. It was not Tomb Raider, I know that much. I think it might have been Battlefield 3, actually. Because I did create my Twitch account in October 2011, and that's when Battlefield 3 came out.
Kind of checks out then.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next questions come from Zozakin. He dropped a few here. And we'll just rapid fire these. If you don't really have an answer, you can just say pass, I guess.
I think it's kind of like a question. Like the questions are like for us to kind of decide on what it would be, I guess, or at least for a couple of them. So like first one for sure.
In a game like Mafia or Among Us, or that one, what is that game where you're like the townspeople and you have the wit? Town of Salem, yes. Mafia, Among Us, or Town of Salem, who among you would be the most convincing killer that wouldn't be voted out?
We had a clip that showed this exactly, who would be, the person. That would be me.
I think it would probably, Coke would be laughing too much and give it away.
Okay, yeah, I'd start giggling, but after a while, if we played for enough, I'd probably get better. But, I remember we do Among Us, I'd just be giggling.
Yeah, we had that Among Us one where it was down to Coke and I think, and Ash was like, "Oh, I know it's Grem," and she actually picked Coke, and it was funny. I was like, "Yeah, see,
I do remember that.
Yep. I mean, but there are some really good people that actually play Among Us that we play with.
I think it would come down to people have this perception of you as being this good guy that would never do anything wrong, even when it comes to a game where you have the chance to be the killer. So people just want to believe that you're not. And then on the other side of it, you have me that when it comes to games like that, I try to be the asshole every time. So just every time they just automatically assume I am the killer, even when I'm not. And I even kind of self-sabotage myself. Like in Among Us, try to, God, think of this makes me want to play it again. Like seeing the killer kill somebody and then just turn around and noping out of the room and then acting like I never saw it. Stuff like that. That is kind of probably frowned upon because it kind of breaks the game. But just doing really wacky stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like it would come down to me versus you based on your perception and my wild, unpredictable tactics. Next question is, what is the kindest thing a stranger has ever done for you? Stranger has ever done for you? Well, I'd say we'll just keep this short and sweet and simple and keep it to Twitch related. Well, I guess really anyone that's new to come to my channel is a stranger. So anyone that goes a step and beyond rather than following and like drops a subscription to me on Twitch or much less a donation, I would say that is probably my biggest answer, just to keep it within the realm of Twitch. So Graham, what is the kindest thing a stranger has ever done for you?
It's normally like at my place of work. And it doesn't have to be. I know it's not any like thing recently, but it has happened too. You know, when they tell me like, oh my gosh, you were like the friendliest and kindest person, in terms of like, you know, you're upbeat, you know, you made this experience like 100% times better than it needed to be, kind of deal. And to actually tell me that is usually really, really like the best thing for me. So usually it's just an acknowledgement of, you know, when I'm trying to help you know, people, that they see that I'm actually trying to do my very best and everything. So I would say that.
Okay, Coke, what is the kindest thing a stranger has ever done for you?
I'm trying to rack my mind. I legitimately cannot remember, so I'm gonna have to pass.
Okay.
Because I'd be sitting here for like 3 hours going, I can't remember.
All right. We'll move on to the next one. What do people often underestimate about you before they really get to know you? I'm going to try to keep these Twitch related, because if I start to open it up to the realm of my entire life, I'm going to be sitting here thinking for hours on end. So I'm just going to try to keep it simplistic. But I would say, what do people often underestimate me before they really get to know me? Probably two things. When it comes to the eFed, probably they don't realize, and I'm not again trying to toot my own horn or anything, but just how long I've been doing it, how long I've been creating people, how long I've been creating characters from scratch in the games, that I kind of have this knack for it. And that if I can find out just a few of your interests, a few of the things that you're into, maybe a picture of reference or whatever, I can make something and create something and mold it into something that you'll end up liking. And that I'll definitely put my 110% effort into creating, where it's not just something that's slapped together. As long as I have a few points of reference to go with, I can do it. And then I think the other thing is probably, I think a lot of time people I come across as like really stern, really kind of just business only. And then when people get to know me, and then when I get to know them, I kind of open up out of my shell a little bit and start to joke around and have a few laughs and stuff. But really, first impressions with me is, and this kind of does go into my real life too, to be honest, especially when I'm working at my job and stuff. I'm not very talkative. I focus on the job and the task at hand, and I'm not very communicative with people. But once I get to know you and you get to know me, I definitely open up and I start to have that conversation and laughs and jokes and stuff with people. And now, Grim, what do people often underestimate about you before they really get to know you?
That I'm just mainly a quiet type of person. When you get to actually know me, I like to joke and laugh a lot. And I do talk. One thing about me is that I listen, and I'll listen to what like the person's interests are before I mention anything. I'm very cautious when it kind of comes to that stuff in you know, real life. So, but a lot of people think that, oh man, he probably doesn't really know much, or I'm talking over his head and things like that. When in reality, I'm gauging. I'm kind of like figuring out what type of person you are and what kind of interests you. So this way, when I do speak, you know, it actually would interest, you know, you'll pay attention to what I'm saying, and kind of seeing if there's a connection or not. So,
Okay. And Coke, what do people often underestimate about you before they really get to know you?
Oh, I was muted. Yeah, I'd say I'm
Absolutely nothing. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Hey. Like, I'm standoffish and private, but once you get to know me better, I'd say I'm a bit more open.
Okay. All right. Next question. What is the silliest hill you'll die on? For me, toilet paper goes over, never under. I also agree with that. Toilet paper does go over. Silliest hill you'll die on. Ooh, man. Man, these are some good ones. You really making us think here. You know what? This the just the most offhand thing that comes to my mind. I would have to say this. Everyone craps on Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. I will die on that hill that game is actually really fun for what it is. Is it like up there in the rank of like Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, and 4? No. It's not up there on that level. But does it deserve as much crap and trash and garbage and critique that it has gotten over the years? No. Not at all. It's a fun game. It's 4-player. You get to revisit the RPD before Requiem was even thought about. So you get to revisit all these iconic places from the original games. You get to experience it with your friends. And I really don't understand why all the hate, because it was an extension of the story, like a side story. They took a little bit of liberties with the story, but whatever. I mean, they did it anyway. Capcom themselves did it anyway with 7 and Village. So at this point in time, when you look back in hindsight, it's not really that much different. And at least it staged on track within Raccoon City during the events. And then plus the ending, you get that fun little ending where you never know who's going to choose which side. Are you going to team up with Leon and Claire, or are you going to go into umbrella business? And if you have the 4 full player stack, then you never know who's going to pick what. It's like a game of poker at the end. So yeah, I know it's kind of a really random answer to this, but it was really the first thing that my brain thought of was Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City does not get the hate that it has gotten over the years. And plus I have a personal invested interest in Slant 6 games for what they did for us during one of our charity marathons. They went a step above and beyond by donating 2 steelbook case versions of their game with full autographs from all of the developers autographing both of them. So I'll never forget that. But we'll move on to Grem here. What is the silliest hill you'll die on?
I can't believe that you took exactly what I was going to say.
No way.
Yeah, you did. I mean, like I don't play a lot of Resident Evil games, but I still have the game installed. I won't uninstall that game on Steam because it's a lot. It was fun. Everything you said was correct. I just you took it, and yes, to answer your question too. Yes, toilet paper goes over, never under, because it just makes more sense that way. So, you took it, and I'm like sitting here going, okay, well, I got to come up with something else. And I really can't think of anything else. But yeah, darn it, I can't. Because I had that in my back pocket too. I was like, ooh, Resident Evil at work is perfect for this, and you took it.
Well, that just goes to show that we both feel the same way about that game.
Dude,
That's the first thing out of everything we thought of.
The game was tough too. Don't get me wrong, but like unlocking the weapons and the ending it's just perfect because, like you said, you don't know what your teammates are going to pick. Whether you're all on the same side against Leon, whether you all team with Leon, or vice like a split. It just was. It was a great ending to a game that's just very different. So. Yeah, I'm on that hill with you at this point. I really wish you didn't say that because I really wanted to say it. I was like, gosh, he's gonna say something so unique. I'm gonna like hit him hard with this and like boom. No, you hit first.
Well, sorry I took your thunder away from you.
That's okay. No, like I really wanted to say that one because again, you're right. That game gets so much hate for no reason whatsoever, and it should actually be like praised on just it being a different feel for Resident Evil and playing it with friends.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay, Coke, what is the silliest hill you'll die on?
Well, I've got a different game, but I'll my take on Operation Raccoon City. I never played it up until like a few years ago when I played it with you, and when I first heard about it, I went with everybody else. Oh, this game must suck. And then I finally played it, and I was like, wow, this is pretty good. I mean, I can see what people can have some of the complaints, but worst game ever, worst Resident Evil game ever? No. My personal game, I think Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is criminally underrated.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because a lot of people hated it. It's like, oh my god, it's feature cat. And I played it and I loved it.
I would definitely
Like,
say that.
especially
I would definitely
like,
say that is a heel, because the COD games in recent memory have definitely been like hills you'll die on, seems like, for
yeah.
different games.
But I guess it's a bit of a different perspective because on PC, like that game was, died real quick. Like it would take like a half hour to get into a match. But I guess it shows you how much I cared about the game that I'd actually wait the half hour to play the match.
Right. Okay, his next question is, what underrated thing, game, sports team, software, restaurant, etc., is so good that you can't believe everyone is sleeping on it? You know what? I'll go with I'm just going with the first, as random as it is, just the first thing that comes to my brain right now at this rate, as weird as it may sound. I'm gonna go with fried okra. When I go up north, I'm like, yeah, do you offer fried okra as a side? No, we don't. I'm like, what? Why don't you offer I'm at like a barbecue place or whatever, and they don't have fried okra, even out west. I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't have fried okra. So you know what? That's what I would think some people are sleeping on when it comes to getting out of the South or the Midwest, as some people would say, is that some places just don't even offer or even know what fried okra is. What a shame. Shame on you. You're missing out. Grem, what underrated thing is so good that you can't believe everyone's sleeping on it?
I have two things, and thankfully you did not take it this time. So, one thing actually, NHL playoffs, especially in Game 7. If you don't know anything about hockey at all, but you love sports, please do yourself a favor. It doesn't matter if it's in the first round or at the Stanley Cup. A Game 7 in the NHL playoffs is amazing. I've only been disappointed one time where it was a Game 7 and the other team just didn't show up. It was like a 4-0 affair, and it was bad. Most of the time, though, it is extremely high intensity, excuse me, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And the second thing is still also in sports. Ultimate Frisbee is a lot of fun. It gets you running around. It's almost like soccer in a way, in terms of like kind of going back and forth. Very, very fun. If you even if you've never thrown a Frisbee, you should definitely give it a shot, in terms of just either learning how to throw a Frisbee or just kind of learn the game itself.
Nice. Yeah, Frisbee. Can't say I've ever really done a Frisbee, but I could definitely see where the exercise would come into play for sure. Okay, Coke, what underrated thing is so good that you can't believe everybody is sleeping on it?
All right, I'm gonna geek out. It's a piece of software called Everything. It's like a desktop search engine for Windows. I use it all the time. It's that good.
Wow. So it literally,
Yeah.
you just type in and it just gives you anything
Yeah.
off your computer?
Yeah, you just have to like the file name or whatever. It's instantaneous. Is another thing.
Wow.
You
I
first
have
install it. It takes like, I don't know, 90 seconds to index everything.
I have noticed on the newest Windows, these latest Windows, if you do the search bar at the bottom left, if you are looking for a text file or something, it will not bring it up.
Oh God, yeah.
It's kind of terrible. But yeah, that definitely is something that I would say people are sleeping on if it does what it's supposed to do. Okay, last question from Zozakin. What a lump of questions these were. If you could give advice to your 18-year-old self, what would you say? Oh, geez, 18 years old for me. When was that for me? Geez, I don't even know. Advice to my younger self. What would I say? You know what? I would tell myself, well, no, that kind of falls into things happen for a reason, doesn't it? It's kind of a catch-22, isn't it? Because if in another multiverse things go a different way, then you're not likely to get the same result you got in this multiverse. So I don't know. Maybe I would tell my 18-year-old self to be a little bit more calm, cool, and collected, a little bit more of a throttle when it comes to being online, Be more conscious of other people around you and their thoughts and everything, and try not to be as open and trusting and everything of people online. Don't be as naive as I was around so many people. Be a little bit more, hold the cards closer to the vest, and only trust people that you know that you can absolutely call your closest friends, probably, instead of being so trusting and outgoing and outpouring, and try to put so much faith and privilege into just everyone around you to try to get them to like you and be a support for you and what you're doing and everything. And just really just only value those that you know that you can feel are there to support you and have your back, is probably what I would tell myself when it comes to like an online thing. In terms of like off the computer, what would I tell my 18-year-old self? I don't really know. Like, my life has just kind of been the way I've always thought it would go. Um, I would say maybe try to put a ring on it a lot earlier. But then, if, like I said, if I did that, then in another multiverse, maybe I'd be divorced right now with 2 kids, and that's wouldn't be fun. So I don't know. I think that would be more of an internet question in hindsight to tell myself. But Grim, what would you tell your 18-year-old self for advice?
Gotcha. Well, real life, to try to make sure that you didn't change anything. I would tell them that take a little bit better care of myself. When I was 18, I didn't as much in terms of like food and like nutrition and everything of that nature, mindset as well. But just a little bit better, just better taking care of myself. And also, at one point too, like, hey, you're going to make it past 30. I didn't think I was going to when I was growing up. So kind of like a shock value there. It'd be like, hey, you're going to, don't set yourself with a bar like that. You're going to be going up there. So, things like that probably, to kind of, I wouldn't say make it easier on my past self, but at least make me look into the direction of how I am now. So kind of steered him in the right direction.
Well, I, for one, am glad you made it past 30 and 40, sir.
So am I. So, and I appreciate all the help and everything that everyone has given me. So yes.
All right, Coke, what would you tell your 18-year-old self for advice?
All right, 2 things. First thing, go all in on Bitcoin.
Not Amazon?
Well, this was 2011 when I turned 18.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
all in on
I guess I
that,
should have done that for me, huh?
But tell yourself, okay, in 2009, when Bitcoin first comes out, go all in on it. But yeah, and the second thing would be just there's certain points in your life after you turned 18, you should have just stuck to your guns and actually did what you wanted to do.
That's a good one.
Yep.
All right, our next batch of questions are from Asterial, and we only have 3, two, this one and one more left, looks like. So we're almost done, boys. We're almost done.
Nice.
These questions come from Asterial. Her first question is, what is your favorite class in World of Warcraft? Not like your main, but your favorite, just to screw around on. So this is kind of almost a question like earlier for Grem. But I will answer this one. Back when I was playing World of Warcraft, I did enjoy playing my Pandarian monk. That was my main. That was my primary. That was Teddy Bear. He was my go-to character. But towards the end, the tail end of me playing WoW, I really started to enjoy playing healer. I had Gnome Miata, which was a gnome, I believe also a monk healer.
Yes, monk healer. Yes.
So I really enjoyed playing as that. And then I had another pure healer, and I can't remember who that was at this point in time, but I really started to get into the whole like healing aspect of WoW. I never really got into it because I heard all the horror stories about, oh, if we die, it's the healer's fault, blah, blah, blah. Always blame the healer. blah blah blah. So that always makes you really nervous playing with randos when you're in raids and stuff. But I started to really get the hang of it, and was really starting to learn the skills and stuff, the things you need to do to keep everyone healed up and everything, and was really starting to learn it right at the end of me playing WoW and just not playing it anymore. So when I do come back to WoW, which isn't a win, which isn't an if but a win, I'll definitely be back on the healing stuff to resume where I was at, because I'd really love to get back on that and do more of that. Now, I know it's a little bit different when you're solo adventuring as a healer, and that would be more for like a teddy bear thing. But for like raids and dungeons and stuff, I really enjoyed the healing aspect of WoW. But teddy bear was a hunter, not a monk.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I had pets. That's right. I had my
Yep.
frog pets. Yeah, I remember now. Teddy bear was a Pandarian hunter with 2 giant frogs that I was able to get and maintain their large size through a glitch in the game. That is right. I remember that now. Okay, Grem, what is your favorite class in WoW? Not like your main, but your favorite just to screw around on.
Okay, so I feel bad because this is going to be very cliche, but as a person who's got plenty of alts, I actually like, messing around with almost every class and every spec. I love Druid. I love healing on Druid. I love Monk. I love the Invoker classes that they have. Even Augmentation, which is everyone's not favorite, the support class. I don't mind tanking, whether it be Warrior or Paladin. I feel like almost like a jack of all trades, but not a master of any of them. Even though I love Hunter and it's my main, I'm not always going to be like the top DPS, but I understand it, and I understand a lot of the other classes as well. I love them all. I have a Death Knight. I mean, I can go on and on. Like I'll play almost any of the classes, and just to maybe one day I'm like, you know what, I want to be on my mage. I want to do Frost, or something like that. I can just easily just go on to a character, and I'm already there. So kind of a broad paintbrush on the question, but I love like Shaman, for example, Warlock even. I love all of the classes. I love the differences between them, and I love kind of learning what makes them tick.
Nice. I do know you have just about everything you can play in WoW for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
Coke. We know Coke plays WoW more than all of us. What is your favorite class in WoW?
The one where I can get an AC 130 kill streak, Kappa.
Nice. That would be a Goblin Warrior, I think.
All right. So I guess if I ever get around to playing it, I'll use that.
They are the engineering guys, I feel, more than anyone.
Yeah.
So, all right, moving on. Question number 2 from Asterial. Is there one game you had to pick to? If there was one game you had to pick to only play for the rest of your life, what would it be? Ooh, man. I gotta answer this with 2 games just immediately off the top of my head, because this is how I'm playing this. The first one for single player, just by myself, the original Resident Evil on PS1. It's my favorite game of all time. I think I've said that line in all 5 podcasts now. The original Resident Evil, favorite game of all time. It's my favorite Resident Evil of all time. I don't think any other game will ever knock it off its number 1 shelf for me. If there was a game that I could just go back and play for the rest of my life and just chill out and play by myself, it would be Resident Evil 1 on the PS1. Now, if I had to play a game that included other people and it's just like chilling out and hanging out with a community and just having fun with people for the rest of my life, I'd have to say Peak. I would not mind playing Resident Evil or Peak for the rest of my life if those were the only 2 games I had to play. I think those are pretty reasonable answers for both scenarios. But Grem, what game would you pick to play for the rest of your life?
Oh my gosh. Are we really even asking?
I have a feeling I know the answer.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. It's World of Warcraft, honestly.
least with your game, there's always updates. There's always new things being added. So it's always a new experience for every couple of months. It's not just the same thing over and over.
Yep. So that's why it keeps me coming back each and every time.
Yeah. All right, Coke, if there's one game you only had to play for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Would it include modding capabilities?
Sure, if you want it to.
Tomb Raider, obviously.
The original?
Probably Tomb Raider 2.
Okay. Tomb Raider 2. All right. And our last question from Asterial. What is your favorite sport and what is your favorite team for that sport? Okay. This is a really easy one for me. Even though I'm not like really an avid, like, oh my God, I have to sit down and watch every single game for any sport, to be honest. The one that I follow the most closely and keep eyes on the most and is most dear to my heart would have to be college football, and obviously Oklahoma University, OU, for me, for obvious reasons. But that would be my answer. Grem, what is your favorite sport and your favorite team for that sport?
I mean, I like all the sports. I'll just kind of keep it to like one. If I had to pick only one to watch, sport wise, I could watch and listen to baseball all the time. Grew up with that with my grandmother. We would listen to it on the radio a bunch. We'd watch it on TV. It was on TV. So I'm going to say baseball, and then my team for that for baseball is the New York Mets. So I'm just going to keep it simple. But I watch all the sports, so I could name like everything, like from NBA, NFL, hockey, things like that. But I'll just keep it to one.
Okay. And Coke, what is your favorite sport, and what team/player is your favorite from that sport?
Barring like racing of various kinds, probably it would have been hockey, and bring back the Whalers.
I agree 100%. They need to bring back the Whalers. Yes.
I mean, the Jets are a thing again, so
they are. Yes.
Back.
Yep. So yeah, I mean they moved down to Carolina, but yeah, bring back the Whalers.
All right. Well, there you go. That is it for Asterial's questions. We have one more set of questions here from Michael Tyson, also known as Dark Viper. And his first question is, and I probably can already answer for all three of us, this first one. Did you see the 4-1 win for FaZe Vegas, becoming Major 2 champions? And I have to tell you, I did not. I'm sorry. I don't really follow pro esports at all. I don't know anything about it. I do know what FaZe is just because I've heard about it on, social media and stuff. And I've been to QuakeCon, and, they've talked about it a little bit there with all the championships and tournaments they have at QuakeCon each year. But no, I don't really sit down and watch pro esports. I'm sorry. I didn't really catch that. Grem, did you see it?
No, I did not. And I don't know.
Okay. And Coke, out of the three of us, I feel like Coke would probably be the one to be most knowledgeable about pro esports.
No. In fact, I'm going to say something stunning, brave, and obnoxious. I think esports killed Call of Duty multiplayer.
Ooh. Okay. If you agree or disagree, please reply in the comments. Let us know why you agree or disagree with that. That should have been your answer for Heal You'll Die On, to be honest. But yeah, if you agree or disagree with that statement, let us know in the comments what Coke just said. I'm interested to hear any responses. Okay, his second question was, if you go to Waffle House, what would be your order? We've actually done this. Actually, the last time we were at QuakeCon, we did this last August. What was my order? It was the big one. It was the Farmers... oh gosh, what is it? The Old Farmers Country Special or something. It comes with, it comes with everything. It's the big one. Or the Sunrise Sampler or something. It comes with bacon, 2 eggs, hash browns, toast, and a waffle. So whatever that is, that's my usual go-to order at Waffle House. What about you, Graham?
I believe I've only been to Waffle House once in my entire life. And I really don't even remember what I ordered. If I remember right, though, the only thing that I do remember was the hash browns, and that was really good. So, kind of looking at their menu real quickly, I'd probably either go with the ham, egg, and cheese hash brown bowl or the sausage, egg, and cheese hash brown bowl. But what you said too sounded really good too.
Yeah, it's like their big meal, whatever.
Yeah.
Big breakfast meal thing. Okay, Coke, what is your Waffle House order?
I had to check real quick. The closest Waffle House is in Pennsylvania, so and I've never been to one.
So you and Roxas can go eat breakfast together at Waffle House.
No, thank you.
So you don't have what? If you could order something from Waffle House, what would it be for breakfast?
I'm just gonna look online and see what they,
Okay.
That's kind of what I
Grace's
did.
all-time all-star special. That looks pretty interesting.
That might be what I'm talking. That might be
The all-star special.
Yeah, that might be what
Damn, yeah.
There's a lot of food on it, and that. Yeah.
Yeah. Filled your own. 2 eggs.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll have grits. Yeah, regular. Yeah. Some toast, a waffle, some bacon. Yeah. Man, now you're making me want breakfast now.
So am I. All right. Well, there you go. All-star special, I think is what my answer was. I just couldn't remember it. Okay. Last question for the entire podcast. We finally made it through, boys. Last question from Michael Tyson on Discord says, do you prefer Red Dead Redemption 2 or Red Dead Redemption 1? Oh man, Red Dead Redemption 2 actually won my game of the year for 2025 on the Twitch Croakitoad because it was just such a landmark and hallmark game that I had played on my schedule. So many people were anticipating me to play it. The hype was there years after it had come out. It was my first time playthrough, and so many people wanted to watch my first impressions of it. There's just so much hype built around Red Dead 2. It's really unmistakable. And the story was pretty good too. I enjoyed it. Arthur Morgan was a fun story, and then all the side characters you get. Unfortunately, there's a tragic ending in both games at the end. So that kind of grounds it a little bit, makes it a little bit more realistic for the age that the game is in, that it doesn't always end in a happy story, but the adventure getting through both games, I feel like Red Dead Redemption 1 is a very solid game, and it's definitely up there in terms of like game of the year. But I feel like they took Red Dead, everything that was great about Red Dead 1 and capitalized on it, made it better in Red Dead 2. Definitely just made the story more solid, just added a lot more depth to the story, and made you care more about the characters around you in traveling around in the gang and everything in Red Dead 2 more than it did in Red Dead 1. So to me, they're both like right up there at the top, but I would kind of give the nod towards Red Dead 2, to be honest with you. I'm not sure if my compatriots here have played either one, but I'll go ahead and ask them anyway. Maybe they watch me stream it for what it's worth. But Graham, do you prefer Red Dead 2 or Red Dead 1?
So I have both games. I've not completed Red Dead Redemption 2. I have completed Red Dead Redemption 1. Yeah, this is actually way back when I actually completed it. Goodness, actually with my roommate at one point we would do the online stuff just for giggles and whatnot. So I haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2, and don't get me wrong, both games amazing. Because I have seen you play Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm just gonna go with Red Dead Redemption 1 because I know I've beaten the game. It was amazing, and but 2 is still just as good. So I'm not trying to say like 1's better, but I do like 1.
Okay. And Coke, do you prefer Red Dead 2 or Red Dead 1?
I own Red Dead 2, and I will buy and play Red Dead 1 when I feel it's cheap enough. But I don't know, from looking at, your playthroughs of it, I might prefer Red Dead 1 because it's, I don't know, to me, seems less bloated. I don't know. I'll have to wait and find out until I get around to playing it, which will probably be, I don't know, 5 years from now. The way things are going.
I will say Red Dead 1 is definitely more like straightforward and to the point. It still makes you care about the characters around you and stuff, but there's a little bit less story and involvement in the first one as compared to the second one. They really try hard to make you take your time and really cherish the experience with the characters around you and the story it's trying to tell. So when you say bloated, I can kind of see where you're coming from on that. But if you say that in front of a fan of Red Dead 2, they'll probably get mad at you because they'll probably say, no, that's just way more story that they tucked into the game to make you care about the game if you have the time or the care to care about the game that they put into it. So I can see that. But if you're just looking for a Western that still has story to it and tells a story, but not as much, then you probably would like Red Dead 1 a little bit better. But that will do it for all of our questions. We really appreciate everyone for coming out for this 5th episode of the podcast. Sorry it ran a little long, but doing all the questions certainly added to it. But I'm sure you all really appreciated us taking all your questions. It's unfortunate that Raji wasn't here to answer his portion of the questions, but we did have Coke here, so you got to learn a little bit more about Coke in Raji's stead anyway. But yeah, that will conclude episode 5. We'll be back next week to talk about more of your favorite things and how March Madness goes down. I think will be the big thing. And of course, more about the Croakitoad community and all of you and your streams and what's been going on, and hopefully a CPW report next week as well. This one ran a little late. Thanks for hanging with me. I know this is way past your bedtime, Grem. So thanks for sticking with it.
Yeah, you're welcome. And no, I'm good. It's all good, man.
All right. And thanks, Coke, for filling in at last minute for Raji.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Okay. Do you guys have anything else to add before we shut this one down?
Just stay radical, and thanks again for tuning in to our podcast. It's been a lot of fun these first 5, and I'm pretty sure the next ones are going to be just as much fun.
Absolutely. Coke, do you have anything to add, or?
Yeah. It's been fun listening to the various podcasts so far and being part of them. Earlier on I was, the side guest, and then being one of the co-hosts for this one. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here and a willing participant to be on the panel. And as usual, anyone out there watching or listening for the first time, as always, you can check us out on YouTube, Croakitoad at YouTube. You can find the playlist there complete with bookmarks and check marks so you can skip around to whatever topic you like to listen to. If you're listening to Spotify, please definitely add us to a like on the playlist for Toad Talk Podcast on Spotify, and leave any comments on YouTube and Spotify that you have about any of our comments or topics or anything else you'd like for us to cover or talk about on the future episodes of the podcast. We'd love to hear back from you. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, thank you as well. And please drop us a follow there and a subscribe on all 3 of those services. We really appreciate all the feedback that we've gotten so far in the first 4 episodes, I suppose. And look forward to hearing more from all of you. Also in the Discord server, and which you can find at Croakitoad. And you can also check us out live streaming on Twitch. Not so much right now lately, but here soon, almost every day live on Twitch, twitch.tv Croakitoad. Check us out. Let us know that you came here from the podcast. We'd love to hear from you, and join our Discord server where you can ask us questions or give us suggestions or anything like that in person. We'd love to hear back from you. And as usual, thank you to everyone as part of the Croakitoad community, whether you're part of the gaming community or someone from extended communities or circles, a part of my life. Thank you all for listening and watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to us and our thoughts and everything. And I'd love to hear back from all of you as well. If you have any comments, topics, or suggestions you'd like for us to talk about. But yeah, thanks everybody. That will wrap it up for episode 5. I know it was a long one, but we took a long time for the Q&As. But hey, you got to know us a little better. We'll be back next week for episode 6. Thank you everyone for tuning in and watching and listening. We'll see you next week. Bye everybody.